the Book Confab of Beverly Hills. April 17th through the 18th, 2024. This year, the venue of ReadersMagnet Book Confab will be in Beverly Hills. Join ReadersMagnet and these upcoming events. The Book Confab.
Okay. And I'm one of those that's like, no. I don't. Yes, it is. And then all my kids are cheese and yeah. And football.
Okay.
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh,
Welcome back to ReadersMagnet Book Confab Day 1 afternoon session. A round of applause, please. And now, let's give it up one more time to the podcaster and TV host of Tish Barnhart Show. Let's give it up for Tish Barnhart.
And we are back again live tuning in with ReadersMagnet here at the Beverly Hills Book Confab. We are so excited for those of you that are tuning in with us from TV Land, okay? Hey, how y'all doing? Listen, I want you to invite, click share on the link so that those of your friends can take a look into what we're doing here. We're super excited. We've had some phenomenal authors that have come In the first half, we talked to Jill Fandrick, Dr. I might say, Jill Fandrick, who talked about her book, Students Who Connect Your Dots, a complete course on critical thinking. And then now we heard from David Toe, who talked about his book, Soul License, Tips and Tales. And of course, we ended it with Jamie Blues Fry, talking about family memories with a little mystery in it. And so once again, you guys, we are getting ready to receive now our next author. So before we do that, I want you to do me that favor, share on all of the platforms, okay? So listen, I want to tell you a little bit now about our next author that is coming up, who is none other than Marshall Lamb. So his book synopsis is Worldly Limericks, Planets. Worldly Limericks is a compendium of 603 limericks based upon the internet games, Worldly's word of the day. The nature of limericks is varied, including humorous, quixotic, intellectual, medical, scientific, musical, historical, political, literary, psychological, grammatical, classical, Broderick, now, and there's more, okay? And many other categories. So footnotes are provided for more aesthetic and educational. The theme of this book is laugh and learn. Y'all know how to laugh? Yeah. All right, let me hear you laugh. Okay, so about the author, Dr. Marshall Lamb is a graduate of MIT who practiced and taught oncology, you guys, and hematology for 40 years. That's a long time, ain't it? Well, you know, you do want some qualified folks, right, when they're working with you, right? We don't want anybody who just graduated, right? I know I do. So Worldly Limericks is his first non-medical publication. He is the father of 5 accomplished daughters. 5 daughters? Woo, I got 3 boys there here in Gore. So I can only imagine 5 daughters, you know, people like me, right? His hobbies include gourmet cooking. Now, I love to eat and tell mixology and traveling. So he resides in Fresno, California, and Sun Valley, Idaho, with his retired pediatrician, Julian wife. So let's proceed at this time. I want y'all to clap it up, okay? Y'all heard the chant, right? We clap it up, all the authors. Let's welcome now Marshall Lamb.
Good afternoon. Are you ready to laugh and learn?
Oh,
Take that fan off. Okay. I know it's a fan, but I don't need that kind of fan. In any case, the title of the book is Wordle Limericks. The lecture's title is Limericks, Wordle, and Wordle Limericks. I'm going to tell you how this book came about, but first I need to tell you what is Wordle and what is a limerick. Some of you have an idea of what both are, but maybe it isn't exact. In any case, because this is a book about limericks, I need a forewarning. There may be some off-color language, and because some of the limericks are political, I try to balance my political attacks in my limericks. So if either bawdry language or political issues concern you or might offend you, we have earplugs for those people in the back. I've already been adequately introduced. I don't have to dwell on it, so I won't. But that's my picture. 10 years ago. What is Wordle? Who plays Wordle in the audience? Anybody? Nobody. That's unusual. One person. There are approximately 2.5 million people worldwide that play this game. It's a web-based online word game in which the players have 6 attempts to guess a 5-letter word each day. After each guess, players are given feedback in the form of colored tiles, which show which letters they have guessed correctly and incorrectly. Wordle was created by a software engineer by the name of Josh Wardle. The first Wordle word, cigar, number 0, was presented on June 21st, 2021. 3 months later, it was released to the public on October 20th, 2021. And 3 months later, 3 months after that, It was sold to the New York Times in January 2022 for a couple of $1 million. The participants were as limited as 90 at first, but once the New York Times acquired it, it jumped quickly to 300,000 in the first 2 weeks. And now it's over 2 million people playing it worldwide. The Wordle Dictionary, that is the number of words allowed, is 2,315 solution words. There are over 10,000 words allowed, but as guess words, not as solutions. Obviously, the words that are four-letter words ending in S, making them plural, are eliminated, as are some other choice words. The final Wordle word, therefore, will be October 20th, 2027. And that becomes relevant, which I will demonstrate later, as to the number of volumes of my book I can publish. It also depends on sales as well, of course. So, who knows what a limerick is? Or who thinks they know what a limerick is here? I'm not going to ask you, I just want to show hands. Oh, you guys don't know about limericks either. Okay. A limerick is a humorous, often, almost always, bawdry verse of 3 long and 2 short lines. So the format is AABBA, where A's rhyme with each other, line 1, 2, and 5, and BB rhyme with each other, lines 3 and 4, but not necessarily with lines 1, 2, and 5. It was popularized by Edward Lear, more about him later. It was named not after the city of Limerick in Ireland, but from a chorus of an 18th century Irish soldier song, Will You Come Up to Limerick? I've searched on the internet and I can't find it, but that's what my references tell me. The use of the word limerick, and this is etymology, was limited until 1900, when at the beginning of the 20th century it began to gradually rise, peaking during World War II. Subsequently, it's flattened off. My wish, of course, is that starting in 2024, this is going to go way up once attention to my book is noted. We'll see. The first limerick was written in the 13th century by St. Thomas Aquinas in Latin. And here it is. Those of you that read Latin and understand it can read the first group, but I will read to you in English the first limerick ever written. To circumvent brimstone and fire, expelling unsavory desire, I piously prayed, devoutly obeyed, as my soul soars progressively higher. This is more of a prayer than anything, but it happens to be in limerickal form. Many children's nursery rhymes are in limerickal form. You know, hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran up the clock saw it run, down and run, hickory dickory dock, classical limerick form. But a Wordle limerick, my limericks, go a little differently. It actually goes something like this. Hickory dickory dock, mouse ran up the clock. But in this nursery rhyme, the clock will never chime, for the mechanism the mouse has blocked. Anyway, so Shakespeare used limericks. He's known for sonnets and plays, of course. The sonnets were in iambic pentameter. A limerick is not. Shakespeare's limericks were incorporated into his plays. So Othello, Act 2, Scene 3, contained the following limerick. And let me a cannikin clink clink, and let me a cannikin clink. A soldier's a man, life's but a span. Why then let a soldier drink? Well, that's interesting, but blah. In any case, that's why Shakespeare is not considered the father of limericks. The modern limerick form actually began quite early, during the 18th century in England. It was popularized by illiterate people, working class, and alcoholics. So these people would spend a long day working, they'd go to their pub before going home, and they would get a beer and sit around and smoke, whatever they smoked at that time, and they would invent limericks. And even if they were illiterate, they could still remember the limericks. So in any case, they became more popular in that fashion. But the very first publication of a limerick was by Edward Lear in 1845. His book was called The Book of Nonsense. There were 72 limericks. He published subsequently a total of 212 nonsense limericks in 1872, and he is considered the father of limericks. My goal is to become the Shakespeare of limericks because I have written already in less than 2 years over 2,500 limericks. So what is a limerick? Let me demonstrate what a limerick is. So as we said, it's 5 lines. This is your classical limerick. It's in AABBA form. It is an anapest trimeter dimeter. What does that mean? Well, that means that the first, second, and fifth lines that rhyme with each other are a triplet. The third and fourth lines that rhyme with each other, but not necessarily the other lines, A lines, are a doublet. So it sounds something like this. Da-da-dum, 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 line 1, triplet. Da-da-dum, 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 line 2, same. Da-da-dum, da-da-dum, a doublet. Da-da-dum, da-da-dum, doublet again, rhyming. And the fifth line, da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum. And that is your meter for limerick. If you look at published limericks, 99.9% are funny, but they're also ribald or bawdry, plain English, dirty. So how do my limericks differ from your classical or conventional limerick? Well, first of all, they're based on the wordle word of the day. Whatever the word is that day has to be incorporated into the limerick. It doesn't necessarily have to be that word, but that word has to be in it. So a couple of days ago, the wordle word was broth, B-R-O-T-H. But I used brother, which contains broth. So as long, that is the rule. Secondly, I don't stick with 5-line limitations. I can add a 6th or 7th line to enlighten the limerick, but I'll put those lines in parentheses. Thirdly, I'm not limited to bawdry. While I have no objection to bawdry, and I hope my bawdry are more elegant and not vulgar, I can cover any topic whatsoever. I have educational footnotes for some limericks that require them, because not everybody would know what I'm talking about. Perfect confirmation isn't absolute. I know that in some of my limericks, the shorter lines go a little long, but that's okay. I'm more interested in getting the idea across than conforming to perfect form. And finally, you'll notice that some of the limericks in the past do not mind using the same word as a rhyme word. I don't want to do that ever. So this is an example of an Edward Lear limerick published in his first book. There was a young lady whose chin resembled the point of a pin. So she made it sharp and purchased the harp and played several tunes with the chin. It's cute. But notice he's using chin twice. He also used illustrations in this book to enlighten the book, and it was something that I'm not doing right now. So let me give you an example of a non-conventional limerick and how a 6th line could make it much better. The word this day was chunk, C-H-U-N-K. From a single chunk of clay, God made Adam one bright day. Then he took from Adam's rib material to make a glib female from his DNA, thereby introducing foreplay. So before the 6th line, it was cute. Maybe even, if you're religious, factual. But the 6th line had the punch. It really what made you giggle. So what inspired me, a retired oncologist, hematologist with 40 years of practice under his belt, to want to do this? Prior to this, I've only written medical. I can recall growing up in Bronx, New York, my friends and I during the summer would stand on the corner and we whistle at girls. and we would invent limericks, laugh, and forget them. Um, and then I also would read limericks, buy books of limericks, and 100% are dirty. But I was more interested in, I wouldn't go there. In any case, I discovered Wordle in late April of 2022 when somebody told me about this internet game. At that time, it was the 312th word zesty, 5-letter word. So I started playing it. I got interested in it. And by the time I did 158 words more, it was October 2nd, 2022. And what was that word? I don't remember. But in any case, that's when I started composing limericks. So if you do a little math, it's clear that I would have to have written most of those early limericks retroactively. I published the book Wordle Limericks on December 15, 2023. This book contains 603 limericks representing the first 401 Wordle words, all written retroactively. Now, subsequent volumes will contain limericks that I wrote on the day the word came out because I caught up. This is what the book cover looks like. The boxes are the colors that look like the Wordle game when you played words. A comment on this book when it came out: Wordle Limericks is a testament to the author's creativity and versatility, showcasing his ability to seamlessly weave together various topics in a format that is both accessible and enjoyable. I hope to live up to those words in the illustrations of the limericks I'm going to provide shortly. Oh. Well, I think I'll skip this slide. This just shows you can do anything with limericks. I incorporated the Wordle word in there. I'll read you one. The word on March 21st, 2023 was tough. And I can't read it too well until somebody pulls that white screen back. Thank you. There it is. I tried writing a draft that was rough and was hoping it would be enough. I am writing limericks every day without dereliction or delay, but today's Wordle word is just too tough. So you can pick any subject. Now, the very first Wordle word was cigar. And what I did with that is as follows. Bill Clinton certainly got very far. Only few could achieve on his par. But the Lewinsky scandal proved more than he could handle. He had no clue what to do with a cigar. Now, that doesn't need a footnote for us, but you notice that little asterisk. That's for young people that are young enough not to know what happened back in 1998. In any case, you notice that under the title word, which gives you the date and the number, there's an associated limerick. What's the association of limericks there with limerick 290? Well, 290 is the word was natal, and it reads, most people have a natal star, but Mark Twain's birth was more bizarre. Halley's comet for him was natal. That same comet proved to be fatal. So give Samuel Clemens a cigar. What's he talking about? Well, my footnote will explain for those of you that don't know this. This is Mark Twain, also Samuel Clemens. The footnote reads, Mark Twain was the pen name of Samuel Clemens. He was born shortly after Halley's Comet appeared in 1835. He died of a heart attack one day after it reached its perihelion and appeared brightest in 1910. 1 year before his death, he predicted his death coinciding with the comet's reappearance. So the 76-year cycle of Halley's Comet was in conformity with Samuel Clemens' life. So that's how the related footnotes work. Now, sometimes when I have a word and write limericks, I will have more than one limerick, but I'll have a number. So this is the one limerick separate from this. This limerick contains two limericks that are for that word, but they're related. So let me give you an example. The word pound on August 7th, 2021, first limerick reads, Britain traded the euro for the pound. A decision thought to be profound. When they left the EU, they told Europe to go screw. Not everyone thought Brexit was sound. There are footnotes describing this. The second one I'm going to read to you is the following. This could be Barger, be careful. They were so gorgeously round, forming a perfect mound with a nipple of a navel. Your taste buds will enable. Oranges, $2 to the pound. On the other hand, this word here, prick, meaning to prick your finger, stick it. She prick. It could have been a fatal stick for the evil Maleficent. Put a curse on Aurora the innocent, but she survived due to a hibernation shtick. The situation was truly alarming. Before the arrival of Prince Charming, her red lips he kissed real quick, then handed her his throbbing prick. Now she's happily making love, never darning. So, not sewing anymore, ladies.
We figured it out.
So, at the end of the limerick section, there's the footnote section. Then there's tables. The tables show you the word of the day, its number, the category, which I'm going to go in a minute, because my limericks fall into 33 separate categories. I managed to classify every limerick without exception because category number 33 is unclassifiable. In any case, this is the number of limericks, and in this column are the cross-referenced limericks. So if you like that word rebut, a rebut limerick is about Egypt, ancient Egypt. You'll also want to read these limericks about similar subjects. And here we are. The categories are 33 categories. Notice that the last category is not unclassified. For this lecture, I made it poetry. Notice, be careful about 32, that's the obscene. In any case, all the subject matter is listed alphabetically, and I'm going to ask the audience if they would like to pick a subject. But not because volume 1 only goes for the first 603 limericks and the first 400 wordle words. Some of them will be in subsequent volumes and not yet published. So you're getting a little advanced look. So anybody have a favorite sub? Yes, ma'am.
Family and friends.
Family and friends. Why did I know you were going to? 2021, the word was acute, A-C-U-C-E. Joe was in acute distress. His dismay was too hard to suppress. As he gazed into the mirror, it became so much clearer. He looked horrible in his sister's dress. The next one you could all relate to was the word was flask. I carry a flask of gin whenever I visit my kin, for it eases the stress, nothing more, nothing less, so they cannot get under your skin. Please don't laugh in advance of the punchline. Let's see, I got to get back. Let me, just give me a second here. All right, back to the categories. Another person, please. Yes, you want to pick one? Oh, I didn't see you.
I like medicine.
Are you a medical person?
Yes.
Oops, I shouldn't have done that. I hit the wrong button. Hold on. 1 second. Uh-oh. What I do here? I got a little help from technical. Gotta get rid of that. There you go. Okay, perfect. Thanks. You noticed I wasn't a surgeon. Okay, medicine. Here we are. Oh, all right. Liver on July 14, 2022. I doubt I could ever forgive her. She refused to donate part of her liver. I needed a transplant, but she said I just can't. Now it's clear I could never outlive her. And here's an additional one. The liver, an organ you can't overrate. Found only in vertebrate. Without a liver, you can't get by. For poisons, you must detoxify. And it's great, it can regenerate. Treat. I now suffer from limerigitis, that's true. Which differs from laryngitis. It's an excessive compulsion. Some friends treat with revulsion, for it sneaks up behind us to bite us. And then there's the poor fellow, for the word plant, named Grant, who in his garden did foolishly plant a Venus fly trap. Now he's unable to snap his fingers until he gets a transplant. So this gives you an idea why they're educational and funny. And if anybody wants to see footnotes on a subject, let me know. That is if they want more information. Another, okay, young lady, would you like to pick a category?
Sex.
Oh,
There you go.
all right. I was wrong about you. I think some of you know what that picture is. It's a,
Yes.
okay. What's the artist's name? From Arizona. Yeah, George O'Keeffe painting. I'll say no more. Okay, these are revolved, but I think they're elegantly revolved. The word was agile. My old girlfriend, Susie McGill, in bed was extremely agile. Her voice was mellifluous, but she was too promiscuous. Now she's on penicillin and flagyl. Aglow. My advances were intentionally slow. I started with her big toe. When I reached her upper thigh, she began to sigh, and she was all aglow. Sixth line, she knew where I was soon to go. Logic. In the past, I professed to be logical, until I decided to study the biological for the female of our species. My full attention did seize, so I majored in the gynecological. And the last one, fishy. She appeared to be a dame that was dishy. Her buttocks were perfectly squishy. But she turned out to be a male. I'll spare you further detail. I should have realized something was fishy. So, I'm sorry if I laugh at my own limericks. Anyone else want to pick a category? Yes. What?
14.
No, a 14 is
Horror.
horror. Oh, you're a fan of the occult, huh? Oh my goodness, this is scary. The word was cross. And that picture here is of Bela Lugosi when he played Dracula. Dracula works only at night. Your jugular vein is his delight. But confront a vampire with a cross, your life won't be a complete loss. He won't even put up a fight. This is historical with a footnote. That picture is of Vlad the Impaler. He was, well, the limerick tells you he was. Vlad the Impaler was a sadistic fiend, a medieval Romanian king who impaled his victims with a thud, then dipped his bread into their blood. As Dracula, he remains unredeemed. A footnote indicates who he was. He was the original model for Dracula, and indeed, he did all those wonderful things described there. All right, more categories for you to pick. Yes?
Movies, theater, TV, radio.
Screenwriter wants the movies and theater. Okay. Hold on a second while I find my cursor. Movies, theater, TV, radio is the category. Look who we have here. Marilyn Monroe, Ronald Reagan. Who knows who these guys are? Yeah, Tweety and Putty Cat. The word aglow. All men desired Marilyn Monroe. Their lust for her did overflow, but none could have her at all, as they couldn't play baseball. Only Joe DiMaggio could set her aglow. And Arthur Miller, who wrote like Thoreau. Gripe. The Gipper would never gripe. He just wasn't the type. Short-lived George Gipp of football fame played multiple positions for Notre Dame. Ronald Reagan, that name is swipe. Who knows what that's about? Ronald Reagan's movie that made him famous was about a football player. It was Newt Rockne, All-American, 1940. And this football player who played for Notre Dame was a brilliant player. At 25, he developed a bone cancer. And he was dying on the day that Notre Dame was playing for the championship. And all his teammates came to his bedside, and he said to them, "Get one for the Gipper." Ronald Reagan assumed the name the Gipper, and it's related to that. And those that didn't know this, what seems to be all the audience, it's in the footnotes. So when you buy the book, you'll learn all those things. And the last, tease was the word of the day. Tweety Bird loved to tease and pester the persnickety feline Sylvester. Despite the putty cat's pride, he was always on the losing side. No, he never had the chance to digest her. All right, are we having fun? Yeah, we got 20 more minutes to this if you want. All right, any other categories, please? Come on, how about you? What's your favorite that you like to hear? Huh? I don't have that up there. But that was that the same as jewelry and fashion? That work? All right, she wants jewelry and fashion. It shows she is a critical thinker. Oops, I did it again. Hold on, I shouldn't touch that. Oh, okay. Give me a second here. Okay, so critical thinking jewelry. Jewelry, where are you? Jewelry and fashion, here we go. Model. A model of fashion design, after a show, was forced to resign because her bosom was bare. So was a derriere. Yet the critics all thought her divine. And here's something you might know or not. The word was piper, relatively recently. When he used cotton, silk, leather, or satin, Yves Laurent was the Pied Piper of fashion, a comfortable clothing line with an elegant design for which women were irresistibly impassioned. So there are footnotes about him and his life.
Excuse me.
Yes.
You can just write about anything, like it just comes to you?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're not like a student of fashion or...
No, I've stored a lot of trivia in my brain in 82 years. And this is a good dumping ground for all that trivia.
How about military?
Military, we have a soldier here. All right, military. Oh, yes. So here's fun one, and then there's a historical. Basic. When recruited into the army, mother worried they would harm me. I had no way of explaining that during basic training, no need to send a kosher salami. And this one is purely educational. Flank, a great tactical warfare feat, led to one of Rome's greatest defeats. At the Battle of Cannae, Carthage and Hannibal won the day with a double flanking maneuver technique. And that is footnoted in detail. Yes?
Would you be able to freestyle and do one if I gave you a word?
Possibly, but could you wait till after the lecture before we do that? I'd like to get these across, but I'll do it for you. In fact, when I sign books, I write personalized limericks for people. But it's better to write them, and then you have to refine them. So my first draft isn't as good as what you've seen, but they get refined and they become good. Another category, please. Anybody? Yes, sir.
Dance.
I can't hear you.
Dance.
Dance. We have a dancer here. I don't mean native dancer. Okay. Broke was the word. When dancing with a gorgeous brunette, Lafayette never broke a sweat, even though he was in love. And she wore a perfume glove, for they were dancing the minuet. He was dancing with Marie Antoinette. Footnote on her. Next one is disco, more modern, although that's gone since the 70s. Huh?
Yeah.
We love to go dancing at a disco, where the music is fast, not too slow. My wife takes photos with her Minolta. I dance like John Travolta and put on a very good show. Everybody know what a Minolta is?
Yeah.
All right. Any other? Yes. Oh, you were as somebody that didn't have a chance?
Art.
Art. Yeah, I like these. I got a few. Print. I desired to own a Gustav Klimt, but could only afford a print. Oh, his painting The Kiss is impossible to resist. To understand it, one needs to squint. Do all of you know Gustav Klimt, the type of paintings he had? Often nude, the women had elongated necks and faces. Next, think. The Thinker. Sculpture by Auguste Rodin. I know I'm going to have to mispronounce his name to make the limerick work, so you Francophiles, please forgive me. The Thinker sculpture by Auguste Rodin is made of bronze, not marble or tin. A pensive nude male, 6 feet tall in scale, his fist holding up his chin, contemplating what a fix he is in, looking at the world, much to his chagrin. 6th and 7th line examples. There's more in art. Tawny. When Pablo Picasso saw me, he desperately wanted to draw me. His main interest was pubic. He painted me cubic, with hair both exuberant and tawny. He was incredibly horny. Mural. The most beautiful ceiling mural. Its effects can be sensory neural. By Michelangelo, when viewed from below. One of a kind, never plural. About this no one will quarrel. So those are some examples of art. Anyone else? How about you, young man? You want to learn something about mathematics, about science? So we haven't done science. History, science. All right. Prove. This is in the first volume. Both of these are, because the number's less than 400. On Einstein, one could never improve. Abstract thinking really was his groove. Deducing E equals MC square was not just hot air, and certainly quite difficult to prove. Crazy. Edison thought DC current was crazy. Tesla thought DC current was lazy. Their competition grew quite heated, and Edison was defeated, although due praise for Tesla was quite hazy. You know about the competition for AC versus DC current in the 1880s and 90s. The footnote will tell you everything you want to know about in shortened form. Molar. In my high school chemistry class, I learned the molar volume of gas. And all kidding aside, how much hydrogen sulfide in moles one can blow out there. You finished the last one. Circa. Jane is a beautiful Canadian. I'm certain that she is mammalian. Yet she's unable to screw and stay awake too. I can't determine her rhythm circadian. Perhaps she's a bear or an alien. These are serious ones. Planck. Everybody know Maxwell Planckers? Well, if you don't know physics, you'll learn now. I once knew a fellow named Frank who over time slowly shrank. Now I'll be laconic. He became subatomic and lived in the quantum world of Max Planck. I added, his name has a C in it, so I put that in parentheses. Clerk. The equations of James Clerk Maxwell, for which he deserved a posthumous Nobel. The footnote indicates there is no such thing as a posthumous Nobel. You have to be alive to get it. Described the electromagnetic wave, which made fellow physicists rave, allowing him to bid the ether farewell. Am I tiring you out, or do you want to go a little more? How about sports? Any of you tennis fans here? No tennis fans?
No.
Sorry, I have one golf, but it's not up. Bagel was the word. May 25th, 2023. A doubles tennis game I did finagle. My partner was my friend Nagel. Team Nadal and Federer were a doubles competitor. You're not surprised the score was a bagel, meaning 0. And this is about Arthur Ashe. The word was brash. The great tennis player Arthur Ashe. Can we shut that light off? The great tennis player Arthur Ashe played aggressively but never brash. The only African American man who won 3 Grand Slams. Many tennis records he did smash. A great man was Arthur Ashe. His behavior was never brash, but a transfusion of blood nipped his career in the bud. With AIDS, his hopes were dashed. And in the footnotes, you'll learn that he was a fabulous player. And he did have a blood transfusion for a heart surgery and wound up getting AIDS, which ended his career. So there's much to learn, much to laugh at, much to wonder about in my Wordle Limerick book. I'd like to show you that limericks can be poetic, if you allow me to choose one. The word was kneel, Kneel. When God created the snake and the eel, he intended that they never kneel, but always slither on their belly, silently moving like sinuous jelly, their vulnerable soft spot to conceal. Shine. Light on earth is from sunshine. Solar photons are emitted all the time. Emitted from the chromosphere. When they reach the atmosphere, the light and warmth provided are sublime. And finally, night. When the sun sinks out of sight, shortly later it is night. Nocturnal animals hunt and peep. Diurnal ones go to sleep. That reverses at dawn's early light. Poetic limericks. So, there you have it. Anyone have a burning desire? We have a few more minutes for another category. I'll open it up to people that have chosen. How about music? Don't you want to hear the music ones?
Sure.
Yeah? Let's do music. If you don't, I could sing for you if you like, but it's not what I'm being paid for today. So, the word was happy. The song most likely to make you happy is Good Vibrations, which is quite snappy, sung by the Beach Boys, the Real McCoys. Listen to it when feeling crappy. Turns out they have 2 of the top 10 songs that make people happy. And there's certain characteristics of a song that make people happy, and it's in my footnotes. So buy the book. Everyone loves a Beethoven, there he is, Ludwig, symphony, which is packed with musical virtuosity. But I prefer Gustav Mahler, as do many music scholars, for they induce in me a state of ecstasy, often triggering a mystical epiphany. So, I think if you're satisfied with those examples, I'll conclude my lecture. Everybody, no more burning desire. No, it's not over yet. Well, I need another minute. Oh, wrong thing. No, there we go. So this limerick is the introductory limerick to the book with a sentence added. I hope this book you'll not spurn. Your full attention that I will earn. Wordle limericks won't make you cry, so go ahead and give them a try. Join with me to laugh and learn. Buy a copy now, which you'll never return. Thank you. So it's 5-2. Do I get a refund? 5 minutes? No. Any questions from the audience about anything related? Yes.
Do you ever just find yourself talking in limericks?
Yeah. I think in limericks sometimes too. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun to do.
Did you do that with your patients?
No, not really, because I didn't really start doing this until like a year and a half ago, and I've been retired for 10 years. So I'm older than I look. So, as far as inviting you to, I can give you an imperfect limerick if you want to give me a subject.
Bodega.
Bodega?
Yeah.
What is a bodega? It's a a what?
A corner store.
Corner store. Oh yeah, the Latin market. Yeah. My wife likes to shop in a bodega. About it, she couldn't be vaguer. On what she buys, I think she lies. Help me out. My questions simply plague her. My questions are always plague her. So there you go. That was under a minute. Yes.
I'm a dog.
A dog? Oh, I got limericks about dogs, but okay, give me a second. At first, I thought it was a dog that I found almost drowning in the bog. But when I took a closer look, well, boy, was I a schnook. It was simply a green frog. No, it needs some adjustments, but it's a good first draft. Anyone else, I guess?
You're enjoying your retirement, aren't you?
Oh yeah, well, why not? Yes, very much. And I have to give my wife compliments because she tolerates these limericks. Actually, the true reason why I published them. So I started doing these limericks, and every morning I come to her, you want to hear today's limericks on the Wordle Word? And I read it to her, and after a while she got kind of, I don't know, bored or irritated or whatever, saturated probably. And she said to me, okay, go publish it.
There you go.
Not a bad idea. So, thank you.
All right, let's give it up for Marshall. Come on, you guys. What a fabulous job coming up with these on the spot, I must say.
Oh, okay.
Yes, y'all made it work for it, right? But he delivered, did he not?
Yeah.
All right, he delivered, especially with the dog. Turned out to be the frog.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the princess that kissed the frog, I could work with that on the dog too.
The princess that kisses the frog. All right, now. Well, let's clap for Marshall Flair once again. I'm telling you guys, this has been so exciting today, sharing with you guys and being here, hearing all of you authors that are sitting out here, and those of you authors that are tuning in with us live from ReadersMagnet Facebook page and from the Tish Barnhart Show page, as well as TishBarnhart.com. Listen, thank you so much for listening to us out there. So we have been having some phenomenal authors come and share about their books today. And so up next, we've got Christina Whistler, you guys, is coming up with her book. And her book synopsis is Lola Rising. Lola is from a farm in Montana, but now she lives in Los Angeles, California. Her family's secret is that she is part fae, which she doesn't know until her 25th birthday. Ben is from a different planet and now living on Earth in Los Angeles, California. He owns his own company and also has a ranch when they come together. It is like they were meant to be. Their love is fast and furious, but can it take the test of time? Ain't that something, you guys? A lot of things out there. Can we take the test of time? So now about the author. In the realm where desire intertwines with fantasy, I am the maestro, the conjurer of passionate tales that lure the heart and mind into a world of otherworldly allure. I am Christina Whistler, a scribe of erotic fantasy romance, where words transfuse into whispers of magic and fire, igniting readers' passions across enchanted lands. So let's welcome you guys, Miss Christina Whistler.
Hi. My name is Christina.
Yes, it is.
A little bit about me first. Okay, a little bit about me first. I'm originally from Port Jervis, New York, which is in the tri-state area, which connects 3 states together: New York, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. I moved to Los Angeles, geez, it seems like eons ago, because I always used to dream about becoming an actress, and the universe had other, sorry, I'm nervous. The universe had other plans for me. So I nannied for a little while for my cousin, and then I met my wonderful husband, who was just sitting in the back. And he supported me through the years. This was my very first book. It took me 10 years to write it, because unfortunately I'm notorious for dishing everything that I write. I mean, just dishing and starting it over. And this book came to me because I started thinking about, wow, maybe I should write a book. And then I started researching, and I started watching YouTubers, especially author tutors. And there's a lot that I learned from them. And then I just wrote my book, and here it is, Lola Rising, my first baby. And I'm so proud of her. She is half Fae, and she really doesn't know until 25, and she just starts spurting pointed ears. And her journey was a long one, and like I said, I'm just so proud of her. And I don't want to give too much away because I want everybody to enjoy her story. I am making this into a 3-book series, and hopefully sometime this year, the second book will be out. And that is called Summer's Awakening, because they had a child. And the child is also part Fae and part from the father's side, part alien. So that's going to be interesting. And then I have an idea for the 3rd one, but it's not really up yet. So it's going to be an interesting journey for me. This is my first book, like I said, and I love her. She's my baby. Any questions?
What is the Fae part? What does that mean?
Fae are fairies from the magical realm. And her grandmother is Morgan Le Fay, which she is, look her up in history, she's the goddess of, I want to say war, but I don't remember. it's so bad. But I put her as the evil grandmother and the evil queen of the Fae world. So that's my part of that lore. So it's anything else? Any other questions? Yes.
So, this is like a combining fantasy with sci-fi. Are you a fan?
No, it's erotic fantasy romance.
Okay. What was the inspiration for this?
Well, I've always read erotica, and and I love fantasy, and I love romance, so I just decided to put it all together. I want to expand through fantasy, see where that goes. But yeah. Anything else? Any other questions?
When you write a novel, does it come to you in order, or do you sometimes write?
No, I'm a complete pantser. It took, that's one of the reasons why it took me so long, is I would write and I'm like, this doesn't sound right, digit. So that's why it took me so long to write it. Any other questions?
So, sorry, what was the male character's name?
Ben.
Ben, right?
They
So
just have first names.
So he's from another planet, like,
His planet blew up because the overlords took over and they
Like Superman.
kind of. The overlords took over and his parents shipped him. He had other family on our planet, so his parents shipped him with his family to protect him. And then they went back to fight the war, and unfortunately, it was blown up by the overlords.
okay. Does her heritage kind of connect with his heritage, or how does that connect?
It really doesn't connect to him specifically, but they connected in like, it was almost like meant to be. He was from a different planet going through what he was going through, and then she was from the Fey world and she was going through what she was going through. And and that was their story, but excuse me, it came together as he went into the coffee shop that she always eats at, and then she felt this connection somehow, and that's where they started getting together. Any other questions? It's only 2:08. I really don't want to give too much away, but I do have signed copies if everybody wants a copy, and everybody gets 3 bookmarks with their book. So I have them with me if you, okay.
Where can we find your book?
Amazon and Barnes and Nobles right now.
Do you have a website?
Unfortunately, no. Not at the moment. I'm working on it, but.
I know it took me a while to get mine.
Yeah. So, any other questions?
Why would we like this character? I know you don't want to give anything away, but.
Which character? Which one?
Lola.
Lola? She is kind of timid at first. Kind of saves the day. She built up her confidence through her journey, and she was able to flourish or blossom, whatever you want to call it. And Ben, he's just some people call him creepy. I don't know why, but he to me is enigmatic. I think that would be the word. He's sensual. He's like he walks in the room and you can just feel it. It's kind of hard. Yeah. He has amethyst eyes, just unusual. Any other questions about the characters or
The
anything?
cover is very beautiful. What's your inspiration?
I had that done from Get Covers, and I just loved it. From the beginning, the person showed me. I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I want. The only thing is, I really wish Ben's hair was a little bit longer. But the cover itself is gorgeous. And like I said, right now it's at Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. And then the static figure. I mean, when I wrote an article for my book for Reader's Magnet, and I never thought I would be standing here. I just thought it was an article and that was it. And I just never thought I was going to be here. Anything else? And the characters, some of the characters are outrageous, and some of them are. There's a character named Shiloh, in that she finds out that Lola and her are sisters, and she is like kind of like a punk rocker, and she's got the hair, the makeup, the jeans, ripped jeans, leather jacket, the attitude to go with it, and then there's like the Fae world part of it. You got Starla, which is kind of like a manager when the queen's not there, and she was helping Lola. But I really, like I said, spitting a little bit too much into the book, and I don't want to ruin it for everybody. Any other questions?
Yes, we have a question from our online viewer, and it says, "Do you have any tip to us who are still new in writing?"
Right. No matter what you do not let anything get in your way. And plus, even if you have trouble, because I had trouble, I had writer's block, and I had it for about a year. As long as you write something, 5 words, 10 words, 20 words, it doesn't matter. Just get it down on paper or computer. Any other questions?
I know you said that it took 10 years to get this book published, but like on average, like how often did you write? Like,
When I didn't have writer's block, I wrote 5 days a week. I don't write on the weekends because that is my time to do like arts and crafts or whatever I want to do. I make some stuff. I made this ring recently. You know, I want to do like paintings and stuff. So that's my time to do that.
What is different about Faye compared to another girl?
Fae. Not all Fae are the same. Some of them are outgoing, just like regular people. Some of them are outgoing, some of them are tricksters, some of them are evil. You got every everything in play that we have in our world today. But what attracts me to Fae is look at the world around us. Everything is green. They take care of everything. That's their world. And just because you don't see them, it doesn't mean they're not there.
Well, you could never see them.
It depends. I can sense them. I sometimes do see them, corner of my eye.
They're not like real monsters.
They're not life size. Like they're the size of like a dragonfly.
Oh,
Isn't that good for you?
how could we imagine to like this guy would fall in love with somebody like a dragon size? Like, yeah.
Well, that's in the real magical world. This is fiction. Fiction, we can be
Yeah.
any size we want.
Because I consider sometimes like even a normal human being could manifest in different forms if he has achieved some transformation, transcendental powers, and that person could manifest as half fae or half woman,
Right.
or somebody is perception for that normal person, for everyone, but for that person has some phenomenal
Yes.
perception.
Yeah, perception is a big thing about, especially in fiction, because when somebody is perceiving, it's not for everybody. Every book is not for everybody, and you're not going to keep everybody happy. So, I mean, we have to write what we feel. And if we can't feel it, then we should be writing it. So in the thing of manifesting, like I said, I never thought I was going to be here. So apparently I manifested this. And in my perception is great. It's something great that happened to me. But and if another person went through something that if they didn't have a good experience doing this, then it would be a bad perception. This, for me, I just never thought I would. Any other questions?
Were you inspired by other erotic novels?
Yes. Very much so. I get into people like a Fifty Shades of Grey. I loved it. Okay. And then I can get into fantasy romance like Fourth Wing. And I mean, it still has that component to it, but it's not as much as my first book. My second book is maybe gonna be going towards the it's still gonna have a lot in it, but it's more like a prophecy kind of because of the baby girl. And there's some new characters in the new book that's coming out. Any other questions?
Like, what inspired you first to be like, what? Before the book, you do poetry, you do like, they do.
Really, I can't write poetry to save my life. I just woke up and I said, I'm gonna do something with my life. And then I started, like I said, I started researching and I got involved in AuthorTube, and I just started thinking what it would be like to write a book. And I found out, I mean, it's not as easy as some people think it is. Some people think it's like, okay, I can write this book. It's not that easy. It came quite hard to me because I'm a pantser, and I even tried outlining. No, it ain't for me. But yeah, I'm a complete pantser, and I wrote it in 10 years, and the second one's not taking as long. I'm already in like revisions on like a second draft, so. Um, okay, I'm gonna wrap it up. Does anybody want a copy of my book?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's give it up for Christina, you guys, with Lola Rising. I'm telling you, that is so awesome. I love the romance. I love romance novels. I love hearing good stories about how people meet and get together and all of that. And I'm pretty sure some of you have your own phenomenal stories of how you met your boo, right? So, but.
The Book Confab of Beverly Hills. April 17th through the 18th, 2024. This year, the venue of ReadersMagnet Book Confab will be in Beverly Hills. Join Readers Magnet in these upcoming events.
formation of the modern liberal republic that functions on the democratic process. The essays are in order: freedom of conscience, secularism, presumption of innocence before the law, the rule of law. It also explores the threats faced by our republic in the 21st century. Now, about the author. Mr. Holla holds degrees in political science and education from the University of Oklahoma and is a political and social commentator on his blog site called overwinningweirdness.com and his YouTube channel, Art Life Enterprises. So let's welcome you guys to the stage, Mr. Christopher Holla.
Thank you, guys. Thank you all for coming. So, yes, the book is Four Pillars of Republicanism, essays on the foundational principles of our republic and its preservation. Let me stand behind me. Okay. This is going to be tough for me because I kind of like to move around. Can everybody hear me? Oh, the microphone. All right. So the question is, why write this book? One reason is that Benjamin Franklin warned us, a republic, if you can keep it. Okay. Now I got to tell you one thing. When I write about American politics and society, which I do quite a bit, I don't really deal with policy. Policy goes from the left to the right, to the left to the right, and back again. And through this perpetual system of compromise, coalition building, etc., we move slowly but inexorably toward a more perfect union. What I write about is the republic. Okay, so not only did Benjamin Franklin warn us that they had formed a republic for us if we can keep it, but also this was not entirely unexpected. Okay, a lot of people did not expect that to happen on January 6, 2021. But those of us who watch these things like hawks, it was not entirely unexpected. And also because what I have here on this slide has become the voice and message of one of our two major political parties. Now there's a conference, the CPAC, Conservative Political Action Conference, and the one this year was held in Washington, D.C. on February 21st to the 24th. And the very first speaker at this conference, a guy named Jack Prosoviet, said this: "Welcome to the end of democracy. We are here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th, but we will endeavor to get rid of it and replace it with this right here." Two cheers and applause. All right, so I'm going to get to the first, I want just a couple of definitions here. So modern liberal republicanism. Okay, we live in what is technically known as a modern liberal republic. Okay, it is the form of government envisioned and created by the political philosophers in the age of enlightenment and reason. Now, it is republican because it describes a system of government that operates through a democratic process. And it is liberal because it describes a system of government that is designed to be inclusive of the greatest number of interested groups in society that is possible. Okay? So let's get to the first essay, freedom of conscience. Okay? I define freedom of conscience as this: the individual must always, at all times, and under all circumstances, be free without legal consequence. And that's important. To think whatever they want. Likewise, the individual must also always, at all times, and under all circumstances, be free without legal consequence to believe whatever they want. Okay? Now, the thing here is that freedom of conscience must be limited to thought and belief, because thought and belief exist within the vacuum of the individual. It cannot translate directly into freedom of action, because action exists at all times in the world outside of the individual and always has the potential to negatively affect another individual. So our actions must always be regulated. Now, for those of us here, that regulation is pretty transparent. because we exist every day and we function every day basically within the parameters of statutory law and accepted social norms. Okay? But the farther you move out from that, the more opaque that regulation becomes until finally you find yourself in handcuffs, as an example. Okay? So, and really almost all statutory law and government regulation exists for the purpose of regulating our actions. So an important manifestation of freedom of conscience is that in a modern liberal republic, the state does not have the right to tell any individual who that person's enemies are, their friends or enemies. The state can say, okay, look, we think that this person, this group, this government speak and act in a manner that we feel is consistent with what we see as our national interest. Or opposing that, they can say that we find that this person, group, government, whatever, act and speak in a manner that is not consistent with what we see as our national interest. Okay? They can only say, the state can only say what we see as our national interest because each individual has freedom of conscience to determine for themselves what they see as the national interest. Okay? Uh-oh. Okay. So, both see, one of the reasons, I'm going to do the second lines here. One of the reasons republics exist at all is to remove violence from the political system and its processes. Okay? Because both the assumption and the transition of power in monarchies and civil dictatorships of both the left and the right always possess, at the very least, the threat of violence. Okay? The king dies. Son 1 is to become king, but son 2 says, I think I'd be a better king. Okay? And violence enters the system. Dictatorships, I can tell you right now, almost always involve some sort of violence at the moment of the transition of power. Okay? So those people who designed and conceived of modern liberal republicanism, one of the reasons they did that was to remove violence from this political process. Okay? I keep hitting the wrong button.
That's okay.
All right. So in a modern liberal republic, everyone has the right to participate in the democratic process. This is the marketplace of ideas. And if I were to write another essay for this book, it would be on the marketplace of ideas. I mean, that is contained within a person's freedom of conscience. And when they talk about civics, like adults and stuff, they exchange within the marketplace of ideas. They talk about it. But all groups, any group or individual that wants to participate in the political process must do so honestly, peacefully, and respectfully of the differing opinions of others. Okay? So the second essay is secularism. Okay? And I got to tell you, this half-hour presentation is pretty much way down. I have a presentation that's about an hour long, where I kind of get into it. But so secularism. Now I'd like to start this piece by saying, there are people out there who are going to try and tell you that this country was not founded by, and for the Protestant evangelical agenda on this continent, and everything was going fine until you had various people with liberal views start to say stuff like this. The government of the United States is in no way founded on the Christian religion. The United States of America should have a foundation free from the influence of the clergy. Okay. And that was by George Washington. Okay? So you don't have to go very far into the minutia of people who were responsible for the founding of this country to understand how they understood that not only a politically active church, but any sort of collusion between the state and the church would destroy a republic. Okay? Yeah, what are you going to do? So what we have to understand, okay, is that both the church and the state are first, last, and always institutions of control. Okay, now that control can be opaque, it can be pretty transparent. In a republic, it's pretty transparent. In a modern liberal republic, it is pretty transparent to most of the people. Okay, in a dictatorship, that control is incredibly invasive and difficult to escape. Okay, so we get into our Constitution is made up of seven articles. Okay. So, and then we enter the amendments, okay? And the first 10 amendments are known as the Bill of Rights. So the very first amendment to the Constitution is Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Now, it was no accident that as soon as the framers of our Constitution finished the structure of our government, the very first thing they said was, oh yeah, and there will be no collusion between the church and the state. Okay? There will be none of that. And not only that, but the Sixth Amendment to our Constitution concludes, no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. So now, in this essay, in order to maintain a secular republic, I have identified 3 different rules, okay? There are many others, okay? But these 3 seem pretty important to me. First of all, the state cannot favor one religious sect over another, okay? The state cannot favor some sort of animistic religion over Christianity. It cannot favor Judaism over Islam, Buddhism over Taoism, or anything. The state cannot involve itself in that. Okay? Rule number 2, the state cannot use the nation's tax revenue to support the endeavors of any religious sect. Okay? And this is because unless the state wants to tax the entire population into absolute poverty, except for the top 10%, then they would have to favor the revenue they give to one sect. They can't give to all sects equally. Okay?
But they allow tax deductions.
Yes. So, and what this does, okay, is this creates blatant favoritism, violating rule number 1, that the state cannot favor one religious sect over another. And more importantly, it creates a tacit violation of the First Amendment. Okay? And this is why. When I have these things, these are quotes from that actual essay. Financial support of the church through the use of the nation's tax revenue not only creates tacit, if not blatant support for that religious sect's belief system, but it eventually alters that sect's dogma so that the favored sect begins to support and validate the actions of the state as an extension of the will of God. Okay? Churches are in the business of the will of God, telling you they know it, telling you they can interpret it, tell you what it means for you. Okay? And then financial support of the state for any religious sect invariably affects both the dogma of that religious sect and the politics of the state, so that they move ever closer to a single unit seeking control over the nation and the individual. Here we are. Yes. So, rule number 3. Secularism is an essential principle of republicanism because it protects both the church and the state from each other. Okay? Both the church and the state possess, in my view, some of the worst tendencies of the human animal. Okay? The collection of power for its own sake. Okay? And so I got a quote here by Thomas Jefferson. And I got to tell you, I'm a big fan of Thomas Jefferson. Okay? I make no apologies for his life, being a slaveholder, things like that. But the fruits of his intellect, okay, I am a big fan of that. Okay? But he said, in every country and in every age, the priest has been hostile to liberty. He is always in alliance with the despot, abetting his abuses in exchange for protection to his own. It is error alone that needs the support of government. Truth can stand by itself. Okay. So another quote from the book, or from the essay. Republics are always under pressure from non-democratic forces in this world. The secular forces of totalitarianism and the totalitarian forces of religion are always attempting to undermine the rights of the nation and the individual, thereby subjugating both to their wills. We must remember that in no religious sect's vision of heaven is that place a democracy. In fact, heaven is the most totalitarian realm ever created in the human imagination, and the worst apology for religion's general and unwavering support for dictatorship. A God does not put its decisions before any committee. Okay? I'm going to inject something here which you might not believe at this moment. But I am a pastor and an ordained minister. Okay? But I understand, okay, that in this republic, and it's kind of like oil and water with being a political scientist, okay? But I understand that in a secular republic, a person's faith is their business. It has no place in the civic life of this country, okay? My faith is strong, and I think it is well-grounded, but it has no place in the heart or the mind of any one of you, okay? So, next essay, presumption of innocence before the law, okay? So unlike freedom of conscience and secularism, which are experienced by the individual on a level that encompasses the whole of society, presumption of innocence before the law is only experienced on a practical level, on an individual basis, and only under specific circumstances, okay? Like when you are, when your actions are counter to the law, okay? And here's the thing, presuming people innocent is a really difficult thing. I mean, from a human perspective of our hearts and our minds, presuming someone who has been accused of something is difficult, okay? But we have to do it. We have to do it. We have to look at anybody accused of anything, whether we saw them do it or not, because we don't know the whole story, and say that person's innocent, okay, until proven guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction by a jury of their peers, okay? So I am of the belief that in this particular case, with this pillar of republicanism, that lip service is all the United States has ever given this foundational principle. I don't care what is carved into the facades of our courthouses, okay? Because do you think, and this is a question, do you think that a lower middle class black man in America receives the same presumption of innocence that an upper middle class white man receives? No.
Depends where his trial is.
There's not a chance. Okay?
Most of them don't get a trial, they get shot.
So presumption of innocence, okay? So presumption of innocence is not distributed equally in society among all racial, ethnic, sexually oriented, or gender identifying groups. So even though presumption of innocence exists in America, some must fight to experience it, while others are granted it automatically. Okay? Look, I'm going to go back here for a second. All right, so, people ask me what I think about racism, and I tell them, I say, racism is not an American problem. Racism is a human problem. Okay? The negative aspects that we experience in our society are species-wide. Okay? No matter where you go, it exists. Okay? So, but our problem is here. So we, as Americans, kind of need to deal with it eventually. Okay? So there are two amendments to the Constitution that this particular essay deals with. First is the Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall be issued except upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. And then the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on presentment of indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb. Nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. So there are social practices that we have in the United States that are accepted, basically, that threaten the principle of presumed innocence and deny the individual the protections guaranteed in the 4th and 5th Amendments of our Constitution. I identified 3 different practices that we have. The first is qualified immunity, okay, which we seem to have granted to our police forces. And I define qualified immunity as this: immunity from prosecution for the commission of an otherwise criminal act for which another person would face arrest and prosecution. Okay? The United States only started keeping statistical data on the number of people who are killed by police officers 5-6 years ago. And the numbers are pretty horrific. 3 years ago, the numbers, let's say the numbers are the same, okay? A Black American died at the hands of the police. An unarmed Black American died at the hands of the police every 8 days in the United States. Every 8 days, a Black American was killed by the police. Okay? So, the problem with qualified immunity, one of them anyway, is it allows a police officer to act as judge, jury, and executioner and then claim they felt threatened. That is the only claim they have to make. I felt threatened. Okay? The 5th Amendment, okay, says, nor be deprived of life without due process of law. Okay? So qualified immunity is a blatant violation of the 5th Amendment of the United States. Okay? Qualified immunity allows the police to circumvent due process. Now, I'm telling you, not all, if you look at the statistics for police homicides throughout the rest of the Western world, as we call it, it's been like, you go to places like Norway, whatever, it's been like 10 years since the police killed anybody. Okay? So this is a problem in our country. We have somehow made this deal. We have somehow made the deal that the police are allowed to kill people. And not all societies have made that deal. Okay? I wish we had not. So the number 2 is the no-knock warrant. And there's the case of Breonna Taylor, which is one of the most infamous within the last number of years. This woman who was a first responder was at home in her bed. The police had a warrant, they thought, for her boyfriend for the commission of some minor offense. It may have been dealing drugs or something, but nothing all that endangering his domestic tranquility, we'll say. And then they busted in, and a gunfight started, and she was killed as she laid in her bed. And the only officer that faced any sort of prosecution for that incident, and there were, I think, 8 officers there, was one that actually was outside the apartment and just started firing through a window randomly. He was the only officer that was charged, and he was found guilty. The no-knock warrant, that's the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, and papers and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. Now, I got to tell you, I don't think there is no instance in which a no-knock warrant might be appropriate to use, but it is used too frequently and in a manner that is not equitable in society. Okay, the cash bail system is my third one that kind of flies in the face of this principle, and that presumption of innocence basically comes down to access to money. Okay, if you have committed some sort of, if you are accused I must presume them innocent. If you are accused of some crime that is, say, even a minor thing against domestic tranquility, but you have no money, okay, then you are held in jail until your trial. But if you commit a crime that is a vicious attack upon the domestic tranquility, and you have access to all kinds of cash, you pay your bail and you go. Okay? So this presumption of innocence is a cash bail system, and there is a move among judges in our country to end the cash bail system because they see the inequity of it. But I can tell you the bail bondsman lobby in our government is pretty powerful. And the chances of this happening is about nil. So let's go to our last one, the rule of law. When I originally wrote this book, I wasn't planning to write on the rule of law for it, but it worked its way in. Okay, so this is quite simply the way it works in a republic that adheres to the philosophical principle of the rule of law, that the law rules, people do not. Okay, that's why people who serve in our government, public servants, they take an oath to defend the Constitution, not their supervisor, no matter how high that may go. So here's how I define the rule of law. Okay, in a society that adheres to the philosophical proposition of the rule of law, those people who possess vast amounts of wealth and power are and must be held to the same standards of conduct as all other members of society, even those who possess no wealth or power. Likewise, if you are a member of that same society and you possess little or no wealth or power, you are and must be guaranteed the same protections under the law as every other member of that society, including those who possess vast amounts of wealth and power. That is the rule of law. Okay? When you live in a society that adheres to the philosophical proposition of the rule of law, that acceptance must be complete. It cannot be partial. It cannot be partial to individuals with great amounts of wealth and power. It must be a complete acceptance of that principle. Okay. So when you get into the rule of law, you sort of leave your judicial, or you leave the executive and the legislative branches of our government behind, because it is not their job really to defend the rule of law. That job belongs to the judicial branch of our government. And the role of I say in this essay, the role of the judicial branch is to act as the last bastion of the equitable application of the rule of law in this country. I say equitable application because of the predilection of legislatures and chief executives to draft, execute, and implement laws that are either not equitable at their conception or are not applied equitably among all members of society. Okay? The court, it is the responsibility of the court to make sure that all laws, okay, ever since the famous case of Marbury versus Madison, which started what has become the tradition of judicial review in our country, okay, that the courts must guard against inequitable law, not only in its conception, but its application throughout society. So, as I said earlier, republics are always under pressure from non-democratic forces in this world. The secular forces of totalitarianism and the totalitarian forces of religion are always attempting to undermine the rights of the nation and the individual, thereby subjugating both to their wills. Okay, so this is the end. Okay? How do we extract ourselves from our current and worsening predicament? The answer to this sort of question is always education. But in this particular case, to once again, because I got to tell you, I was educated in these principles when I was a child, okay? But I don't think we do it anymore, okay? But when you get into education, education is a kind of a permanent thing, okay? When you are drilled, so to speak, as we do it in the United States, It becomes part of the psyche of the individual. Okay, but it would be so problematic to try and develop a nationwide based curriculum in such things. That it would be almost, I would say it'd be possible, but it would be almost impossible. Because when you get into that, you get into the rights of the states, okay? And we cannot violate the rights of the states in this manner. We can't develop really a nationwide standard curriculum here. You could do sort of a baseline thing, but it would be almost impossible. Anyway, that's my presentation. Okay. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns as to what I've said today, that's fine. I would love to hear it.
Yeah, so these days, many attorney generals in some of the larger liberal cities are releasing people who commit crimes, or at least accused of crimes, without bail. Is that not an infringement on the freedom or rights of the people that could be affected by the crime if they repeat it?
Yeah, so that gets into the level of policy. But if a judge, let's say, releases somebody who has a predilection for violent crime, then I don't know if that's a wise decision. I wouldn't say that's a wise decision. But when you have people who are in jail for, say, drug offenses, drug abuse offenses, a few years ago, the state of Oregon decriminalized all drugs. Okay? They said, look, we're not going to make drug abuse a crime anymore. We're going to do our best to get people help. Okay? If they come into contact with the police because of a drug addiction, we're not going to treat them as a criminal. We're going to treat them as somebody who needs help. Okay? So when you get down to the decisions of a judge in this matter, then we have to hold the judge accountable. Okay, they have to run for election like everybody else. So because they have a person's record in front of them when they make these decisions, and they have the opportunity, even in terms of the cash bail system, to set a high bail for somebody that they think might pose a threat to society if released. Okay, so they have to some extent that discretion now. Okay. I hate to see them make mistakes in this regard, but it happens, but I think too many people are being held in jail, okay, who don't need to be in jail. That's the problem. Our jails are overflowing. America incarcerates more people per capita than any other country on the planet. So, anything else?
Complicated balance.
Do you think your background is as a minister?
Yeah.
So do you have some conflicts?
I have no conflicts in my life. I have no issues. I gotta go potty. Well, yeah, because so I'm going to say one quick thing about the way I see myself right now. I do not consider myself to be a Christian. Okay, I consider myself to be a person who does his best to follow the teachings and examples of Jesus Christ. Okay, and that's it. Okay, but I don't bring that into. Well, I do bring that into my thoughts on politics because I think that they can coincide with each other in a lot of manners. But I don't think that what I think in terms of my faith should be part of anybody else's civic life. Okay, and that's where this country, when in 2002, I think, when George Bush announced the faith-based initiative thing, that the government was going to start giving money to various religious sects in order to do certain things. I was like, oh, don't do that. That's against our Constitution. I hated to see it. But it happened, and it has continued. And so really the line of secularism in this country has been blurred, if not to some extent eliminated. So you have to speak. I'll tell you, my hearing is really bad, so I'm gonna come over there.
Okay, so in terms of where we go in 20, 30 years, next generation, and with all the algorithms and everybody chooses the truth, how do you see this nation?
Yeah, so this Republican Congresswoman, Marjorie Taylor Greene, has said we don't need a national healing, we need a national divorce. If I were to tell you that I've never thought of that, I would be lying to you, and I don't do that. I don't think it is the path forward. Okay, I think this great American experiment can bear where we are over the long term. Okay, the problem is that we are in a new age, right? I read a book a couple years ago called The Seventh Sense. Okay, it's by a guy who does defense consulting and stuff, but on networking. And he said this. He said the great disease of the 19th century was pneumonia. Okay, because the Industrial Revolution was starting. People were moving from the country to the cities, and these factories had no regulation. They were just churning out black smoke all the time, and these workers are breathing it, and it's killing them, mainly through pneumonia. The great disease of the 20th century was cancer. Okay, all of a sudden we started putting all of these foreign chemicals into our bodies. And I got to tell you, if there's a corporation that makes something if they make cancer in a little pink packet or a little yellow packet and say sweeten your coffee with this, it won't hurt you. Okay, I don't believe it. Okay, so we started putting all of these chemicals in our bodies. And so the great disease of the 20th century was cancer. He said the great disease of the 21st century will be insanity. Okay, and that's because a very basic level is changing so fast. Okay, one person recently I read said a person literally will no longer be a person who can't read or write. Illiteracy will become a person who is unable to learn, unlearn, then relearn. Okay. Yeah. So this breeds insanity. When you feel yourself left behind, and I got to stop. A society that is moving so quickly, then you're in for a bad home. But anyway, thank you guys for not attacking me in the middle of this. I appreciate it.
All right, let's give it up one more time for Christopher Hall, you guys, the 4 pillars of republicanism. His presentation today, and so certainly I want to appreciate you once again for sharing with us today. Now, don't break the mic and the laptop now. Don't break the laptop and the mic, okay? All right. Y'all know I like to have some fun, right? So we're going to keep it moving, and we're going to bring up our next author, and so I want to present him to you guys, and that is none other than Dr. Shivam Dubey. Okay, so the name of his book is The Adventures of Aqualand. Trixie's Adventure on Land, Discovering Our Brain. How about that? Mental Health Education, Inc., a nonprofit, and the MindSync Kids presents to you The Adventures of Aqualand, a book series to empower children with strength-based qualities. Through storytelling, it serves as a valuable educational tool, instilling essential attributes such as patience. How many of you can stand a little more patience? Yeah, I know. We got to work on the patience, right? Decision-making, resiliency, empathy, self-compassion, emotions, and the ability to make helpful choices, and the importance of friendships. Our stories follow the adventures of 5 friends, like Trixie the Turtle, and exciting journeys filled with discovery and growth. Now, about the author, Dr. Shivam Dubey stands at the intersection of psychiatry and education, driven by an unwavering commitment to nurturing young minds How many of y'all got some young minds out there still? I like to say mine's still young. Young minds and fostering holistic development. As a board certified adult psychiatrist, accredited by the American Board of Psychiatry and Neurology, Dr. Dubé's professional journey is marked by a profound dedication to mental health, advocacy, and education. So let's welcome you guys, Dr. Shiva Dubé. Welcome.
Sorry, I just ruined your entrance.
Hello. Hi guys, how are you? It has been a incredible time today. All of you. Hello. Starting from connecting the dots. Oh, she's gone. But then going to family values. And when I heard about your family values, I called my son and my wife. Come on. Attend the event. And they're right there. It is too loud? Hello. Okay, so I'm Shivam Dubé, MD, and I came from India in 2008. And I went to Harvard Medical School and did my psychiatry residency training there. And after that, I was living in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and then the God, or who doesn't believe in God, whatever, picked me from there and put me in Plymouth, Indiana. When I went to get the insurance or something at this insurance agent, and I told them, I said, where do you live? I said, I live in the city. I said, what? It's not even a city. What are you talking about? It was rural Indiana, Midwest, and I don't know, I think it was my destiny, but I think it is something that was meant for me, like the whole universe has chosen something for me. Because over there, I'm not only the psychiatrist, but I'm the pediatrician, neurologist, everything. Okay. Because my youngest patient is 4-year-old and my oldest is 94. And when they come to me, I have to do everything. I cannot have them wait 30 days, 60 days to get a medication for hypertension or diabetes. I'll have to fill it, because if they are physically unhealthy, how can they be mentally healthy? And reciprocal, it's other way too. If they are not mentally healthy, how can they be physically healthy? And we all know, the hypothalamus pituitary axis. If your mind is thinking something, like you are in terror, like, the PTSD, the people who came from Vietnam War, they are not in Vietnam, they are in Arkansas or they are in Florida, but their mind tells them that they are there. And then their whole body shivers, heart starts racing, breathing increases, and they have a panic attack and they go to the ER, and the ER doctor runs all the tests, do EKG and all that, and hand them Ativan. Because it was anxiety, it was not a heart attack. But it comes, you feel like it's a heart attack, Even now, if you ask emergency room doctors, they have so many patients every day who come with anxiety attack thinking they have a heart attack. And they get Ativan, and the government get the bill, whoever insurance company get the bill of $1,000, although they could have seen me in my office and I could have given them Ativan and saved all that money. So I moved to Indiana in 2012, so around 12 years ago, and I started working for this community mental health. And life was easygoing, Hoosier, like living with Hoosiers and having fun. Then there was a high school where I used to practice, and I saw this 10-year-old girl, very pretty girl, sitting with me with her mother, and I see deep cuts on her hands and her thighs, and I was like, "What is that?" I mean, that she did cuts, like self-harm. And I was like, oh, she needs to go to inpatient, you know. She needs to be admitted. She could harm, she could die or whatever. Then that patient actually changed my whole course of the direction I was going. She told me, doctor, don't admit me to the hospital. Don't worry. I'm not gonna kill myself. I'm not gonna die. I said, what about that? I say, see, I have some emotional pain so deep that I can't take it. So I use razors, needles to cause physical harm because I can take it. And you know what? I am scared of needle stick. I jump. and and for a 10-year-old girl to say that she's not even scared of doing it to herself, that blew my mind. What is going on? And then as my life, my journey in psychiatry continued, I saw the opioid epidemic. I saw people overdosing on, drugs, and then gun violence is there. I mean, you say there are things, and child and adolescent mental health is going terrible. Suicide hotlines, government is spending billions and billions of dollars on suicidal hotlines and all that. Is anything working? We're still in this epidemic, which is like kind of a pandemic, and it's all over the world. It's not only in America. I figured out it's in India also, and everywhere. So what is going on? In last decade, 2 decades, what went wrong? That the mental health is worsening, worsening, worsening. Aren't we good when we were with our grandparents, our parents, and go to maybe church nearby or do whatever fun? Wasn't it great? Now it seems like we are getting advanced, but our mental health is going backwards. And what is the reason for that? The whole world, the government, all the WHO, CDC, everybody spending millions and millions of dollars, but we are not going anywhere. So that was 2016 when my son was born. And at that time, I started thinking about what is it. Then I went to third year of medical school. In my third year of medical school, we were taught something called preventive social medicine, in which they teach how to control a pandemic, epidemic, how to control a disease in a community. What do we do? Primary, secondary, tertiary prevention. For a heart disease, primary prevention, you teach them exercise, do not smoke, eat healthy, this and that. When the disease develops, that's secondary prevention. When your doctor checks out and finds out early that you may have pre-diabetes, then your treatment starts. That is secondary prevention. And then tertiary prevention is when you got the heart attack, you are getting other treatments. So in mental health, I see what everybody is doing is that we are teaching everybody what are the symptoms of depression so that we can early diagnose it, catch it, and treat it, which is good. But that is secondary prevention. Because once the disease already started, OMG, I'm telling you, if a child has got a disease, that means something has happened in the brain, something in the neurocircuits, some chemical balance has happened. That's why the whole world is using psychopharmacology to treat the kids. That means they have got something. Either they had it biologically from their mom, dad, or they developed it. But that is secondary prevention. So whole world is spending all their money on secondary prevention and tertiary prevention. I have got hundreds of jobs today. Come, see, you're a psychiatrist, why are you not practicing? Everybody in my community in Orlando where I live, you're a psychiatrist, come start the practice. Why are you not practicing? Because there is the money is. And not only the money, basically people are there who need the medication, who need the treatment. This is the need of the hour, like secondary, tertiary prevention. But what about primary prevention? Because if we don't have primary prevention, which prevents the disease from onset or from worsening, then this disease, this epidemic is not gonna stop. It's gonna keep going. It's like a house which is on fire because there is a broken gas pipe. And you are calling the fire brigade and extinguishing the fire, but nobody is looking at the broken gas pipe. And what that broken gas pipe is the way we have grown all these years, our changes in our society, and blah, blah, blah. There's so many, you all already know all this. So what is that primary prevention? What is that thing that we can do or help children with that they may not get mental health problem? Is there anything? Like when a child is born, you give them DPT vaccine so that they do not have diphtheria. How common is diphtheria? And how common is depression? Multifold. So we should have a vaccine for depression, right? So, but why do we always think literally? Instead of a vaccine, there could be something else. We should go, everybody should go, whole research community should be spending money on figuring out what is it that you can do so that children do not develop it. Or what can we do as a society, as a community, what is it? And why is not a first priority? I don't see it as a priority. Because it will cost a lot of money or a lot of time. It doesn't give quick benefit. A business, when you go to a business person, I tell them, hey, I have a program for mental health, this is this, and it could help children not develop it. Even if it saves one suicide, that saves a lot of money for the government. Because a person who commits suicide, before that he goes to multiple times inpatient and thousands of dollars is spent. But nobody wants to invest because it's not a quick money. Or whatever the reason is, I don't want to go into that. But the thing is that 20 years of research have been done, which I think is sidelined. 20 years of research done shows that these are the skills that if you teach to a child, they may not get worse in mental health or they may get better mentally. What is this research? 20 years of research. Why are we not putting it forward? And why are we not bringing it to every child? Yes, and there are other things too, but I don't want to go into politics and all that. So what happened is in 2016, I started working on primary prevention, and I started building curriculum for children based on this research, these skills, competencies which have shown to benefit the children. And what are those? Those are, let's go, 5 of them. Self-awareness, if they learn to be aware of themselves. Self-management, if they could manage, if they get into a situation. Stress is inevitable, you cannot prevent the stress, but they should be able to manage it. You need to be taught, teach them formally. The time has come that we teach this formally, not like, oh, they will go as they go. It's not going to happen like that. Relationship skills. How to have a relationship, how to maintain it, how to preserve it. It's very difficult these days. Responsible decision making. So many choices these days, right? So how to make a right decision? This needs to be taught. Social awareness. The world is shrinking. We need to teach children how to be. So these are the 5 skills. So after I figured out these 5 skills, I started working on the curriculum and how can we deliver this to children. And then I came up with my nonprofit, and this is called Mental Health Education. It's based in Florida.
You have to teach the parents, though.
I'll come to that.
So the problem is that more than 50% of the households in America right now are it's only just one parent. I mean, irregular
Yes,
kids,
yes.
just grandparents.
Yes, yes.
More than 50% of the kids
Yes.
are raised by the regular
Yes, yes.
I was raised by a single parent. What does that mean?
more than
Well, what does that mean? Sometimes the parents.
It's, single parent or basically we need to work on getting the kids those skills. We cannot change if they end up with a single parent or in a proper in a full family or whatever. We cannot change that. We cannot change the destiny of children. The children is born in slum in India. They have 2 parents, but both are not there. Or in somewhere in a rural area where the 2 parents are on drugs. So we cannot control, these are variables. What we can do is do something for children. When they go to school, they learn mathematics, geography, English. What is that gonna do if they're not mentally healthy? Well, how are they gonna use their geography knowledge? You have to teach. The time has come that we have a formal training for children to learn this, so that when they encounter a situation, they know when their mom, dad are fighting, when they are getting divorced or somebody died in their family, they know how to handle themselves, not end up on medication. Because everybody wants medication. I think I should finish and then have answer questions. Would that be better? Because it stops my channel of thought. Because I haven't even gone to my book, I'm running out of time. So this is me with the mustache. It's not anymore. This is actually Miss Shrija Bose. She joined mental health education when she was like 4 years ago, when she was an intern, and now she is a psychologist in Canada. And she wrote this book with me. She is my co-author. And I already told you about, and this is my book. So what happened actually, before I come to the book, I want to tell you what mental health education does. We provide free mental health education to every child in United States and everywhere else, where we provide every child a life coach, one-to-one teaching by a mental health educator. You go on our website, it's freely available. Every child gets a personal life coach, and we teach them all 5 competencies. One competency, we take 6 weeks to teach them, one-to-one, directly, no in between, because we believe the time has come that children need to be learned. They will want to talk in private. And when a child finishes their session, then they go on our mobile app, because we cannot keep kids away from iPad. So we are gone there also. We created a mobile app. Then they practice the session, what they learned in session. Why? Neuroplasticity. If you don't practice it, it won't work out. But another thing is, whatever you are keep doing it, you are learning. So now children are learning to be patient. When they see the chaos all over, they automatically become patient because they're trained like that. They learn patience. They learn mindfulness, they learn positive thinking. When things are negative, they think positive. Some people, I have seen a lot of veterans coming from Vietnam and other places, Iraq and all that, and they will, some people are just positive. They won't have PTSD, or they will survive it, because they think positive. And other person is just thinking negative, then where will you go? So these are the things that's going to be taught formally now. That's what so our mental health education, you can get our website and refer any children anywhere in country free. We do not charge anything. And I'll tell you, moms will come and say, well, I'm looking treatment for my son and this and that. We are not providing any treatment. We're only providing education about teaching you the skills. That is it. So while that was going on, I was thinking what else I can do to go into the lives of the children and parents, so that they can learn these things at home, because not everybody can do, even they don't have internet, or the mom dad don't have time these days to even have the free sessions. So then I came up with a book, because I think my ancestors were really creative. My son and my wife are very creative. They always encourage me to create something. So I created this book. Now, what is this book about? So all those 5 competencies that we talked to you about, that kids need to learn, we created book series. So we have 5 books. One is right now available on Amazon, 4 more books coming. All the books are on covering 1 competency, or sometimes they are covering 2 competencies. And we made them so much fun. We put so much fun in them, so much illustrations in them, that you cannot avoid it. And also, it's very important, when the illustrations are vivid, it stays in your memory longer. When you hear something which gets stuck with you because you're vivid. So we made it vivid. I said, put the colors, as many colors. And the illustrations were done by Shruti Sharma. Because everybody liked illustrations, so I have to say her name. And she's watching live on Facebook. Hi, Shruti, if you are watching us. And actually, Shrija is also watching live. So what is this book about? So this series is about, well, our book is trending #1 on Amazon top new releases continuously for last 2 weeks in different sections. Just to show off. Anyways, this is me, and I want to also practice gratitude here because Orlando Magic, the NBA team, just gave us $5,000. Not a big money. I mean, little grant we received from them to provide 3 sessions in 3 counties in Florida: Osceola, Orange, and Seminole County. Just for 3 counties, for 200 sessions, we got that money, and we are trying to provide those sessions free. Okay, so about the book. So Adventures of Aqualand is about five friends in the Aqualand. Who are they? Trixie, the truthful turtle. Oli, the outgoing octopus. Stella, the shy starfish. Chris, the curious clownfish. Susie, the sweet shark. Which I don't know what that. Each of them have great stories to share. And now I want to introduce you the Trixie, the truthful turtle. And you know what? I want to welcome my son, Krish Dubey, because this book is dedicated to Krish. And he came from the school one day and he started talking about sea turtles. And I didn't know about sea turtles. I'm telling you, I'm so bad in my zoology. But he told me about sea turtles. What do you tell me about sea turtles? Can you tell?
Sea turtles lay their eggs on a beach, not just 1 or 2, 100.
Yes. So sea turtles live in the ocean, in the sea, but when they have to lay the eggs, they come on the ground, on the beach. Can you believe that? Oh my God. So here we have the Trixie sea turtle. As soon as she found a safe spot on the beach, Trixie began digging a hole using her strong flippers. Can you guess what she was doing? She was getting ready to lay not just 1, not 2, but 100 eggs. Right there. Oh my G. And while she was there, she met 3 land friends. Who are those friends? The dog happily wagged his tail as he greeted Trixie. Trixie smiled and said, "Hi, my name is Trixie, the truthful turtle, because I always tell the truth." The dog barked joyfully and said, "Hey, I'm Buddy, an emotional dog, because I love to show my feelings." He then pointed to the lizard and said, "This is Zoom, the impulsive lizard, because he acts without thinking." Finally, he gestures to the owl and said, "And this is Viz, the wise owl, because he's the wisest of the all." I guess you guys are understanding where we're going, right? Okay. Viz says, because he's wise, "We have come to warn you, Trixie. Some humans visit the beach to collect eggs. We must be careful and try to protect your precious eggs." Now, this is the trivia time. Like Dr. Ram, I got some trivia too. Sea turtles lay their eggs on land and return to the ocean. Many species of sea turtles immediately return to the ocean after laying their eggs, like Trixie. However, some species of sea turtles spend long hours creating false trails by scattering sand away from their nests to protect them from predators like animals and nowadays human beings. They are getting clever too. so when so what happened after this story that Trixie got a little scared. So the wise owl came up with a plan. Let's make some false nests around. So all 3 friends started making false nests around the real nest. And then another trivia town. Owls have a unique type of call. They might hoot or whistle to communicate. Well, there were 3 human beings actually came to the beach in the story and tried to digging the nests, but they could only found stones because of the falseness. And then they left, disappointed. And here we are. The 3 friends did a good job and saved the turtle eggs. And they cheer for their victory and smile. And I have some in the book. I have some activities for kids. Finding eggs, those kind of things. But here we go. The ultimate mental health education here. Is your brain. This is my thing. I want kids to learn what is in their brain. I want them to know so that they know what to do. If you don't know what is in your hand, how will you even do anything, right? So the brain. So all these three friends that Trixie has, we have parts of the brain which behave like those three friends. We have those friends too. We can use them. So the wise owl, the prefrontal cortex of our brain is wise. That's what makes us human beings. Critical thinking. Where is, oh, she left. Critical thinking. You remember the connecting the dots? That's where it is. Emotional brain, the limbic system, like a dog, very emotional. And the brain stem, like impulsive. We have those things in our brain. Wise, impulsive, emotional. You can see that. So, how the kids will remember it? Through a poem. What is the poem? Run like the lizard when comes a blizzard. When there is a danger, we got to be impulsive. That's fine.
You're off to a good lyric.
I got it from you. Run like the lizard when comes a blizzard. Think like the owl to avoid any foul. Feel like the dog to laugh, jump, and jog. Remember this poem wherever you go. In the great adventure of life, you're never alone. Thank you. Excuse me. And there are some quiz for the children to, we present them with some interesting scenarios in their life so that they could understand and relate to it. So let's go and ask you guys on this question. If your friend accidentally breaks your favorite toy, you take a deep breath instead of getting angry and tell him, it's okay. Which brain are you using? Anyone? A, the owl brain. See what it says down there. Explanation, very important. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain, is the wise brain, which behaves like the wise owl. Remember, in this story, our friend Wiz the owl did not make decisions quickly. He was named Wiz the wise owl because he was the wisest of them all. He thought before acting. Similarly, here you felt angry, but you decided to take a deep breath. This helped you think carefully. You felt that your friends made a mistake, and we sometimes forgive mistakes like these. So in this very example, we also taught them about forgiveness that we talked about in the morning, right?
How old does the child have to be to get this?
Just above 7-year-old.
7.
Yes. And I'm telling you, I told this story to a psychologist. I work in a hospital. I was just telling her, and the psychologist, my fellow psychologist, just used it on me right away. And she learned it. She said, anybody can use it. You can be wise out, you can use your prefrontal. You just have to be aware. So which competency we are teaching here? Self-aware. If you're not self-aware, the first competency, how will you make right decisions? How will you manage yourself? Right? So this is the last question, I guess. Okay. Oh, this is very important. You are at school, you want to play with the ball, but your friend wants to play something else. You get angry and leave them to play on their own. Which brain you are using? Your brain stem as part of your brain behaves quickly like the lizard. Remember in the story, our friend Zoom, the lizard, made decisions quickly. Similarly, you left your friends here, but by doing so, you and your friends felt sad. If you find yourself in such a situation, you can try and use your right brain. And then there is some coloring activity for the kids in the end. And one more, and we will be done. You wake up morning and find your grandparents have come home to visit you. You're very happy and excited. Which brain were you using? Dog brain. Your limbic system, a part of your brain, is the feeling brain. It behaves like the dog. Remember this story? Our friend Buddy, the dog, expressed so many emotions. He was named Buddy, the emotional dog, because he expressed different emotions. Similarly, here you felt happy and excited upon seeing your grandparents because you love them. And it's okay. But now you are in control. You can be lizard, impulsive, and say something bad happening, like like impulsive, like your survival skills. Or you can be an owl and think and do, or you can be emotional and just have fun. But if you are not aware, how will you practice it? So I want to ask Krish. Krish, which brain you like more?
I like the owl brain more.
Oh, he is like me. Thank you, guys. So my website, my non-profit, where I provide free educational sessions to children all over the world. There is a school in India, in rural India, 350 students. We are providing free education, free mental health education to them, and we have three papers who are coming out with the results of that soon, and we'll be publishing them. And meanwhile, we are releasing our book series to get to every children wherever they are. Thank you.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Wonderful job. Thank you so much, Dr. DeBay, for sharing with us today. His topic, no, his organization is mental health education. Now, whenever you think about mental health, he said he's giving it free for the kids. So some of y'all might need to be 5 or 10 again, right? Well, listen, we are so excited again. Thank you again for that presentation. Give them a hand again, you guys. Absolutely. So I'm gonna walk around and ask a couple of more questions, okay? Don't run. Let's see. I'm gonna come on back here. I'm gonna start right here. Walk here. How are you, Deb? You're good. Tell us your inspiration.
I'm an author too, and just getting different perspectives about what people write about and how they do it and what they're passionate about. And the motivation for my own book.
Right. I'm telling you, isn't it motivating to listen to the other authors? Because sometimes as authors, we can beat ourselves up a little bit, right? And we can compare and different things like that. But when you come in and you just see everybody comes from all walks of life, right? And everybody has the diversity going on and all of that good stuff. So, hey, that's what it is. All right. So does anybody have any questions for Dr.? What is the website? What is the website?
The website is very easy, mymhe.org. My mental health education. Because we are not only for children, we have adults too. So mental health education for, so it's called mymhe.org. It's a non-profit and we are 505(c) whatever that is approved. So you can donate to us.
You give people cards.
Yeah, I have the cards.
We have the cards. Who pays for the free education?
I am paying for the free
Out of
education.
your pocket?
Yes, that's why my wife is looking at me.
Stay on that side.
We have a non-profit funded entirely by me. We just got a grant for $5,000 for Orlando Magic. Let's not forget that. So that's the beginning that we have been, recognized by NBA team. So I hope we continue to work hard and continue to make impact in the lives of children and adults, and maybe we'll get more grants.
Any more questions for Dr. Shabay? One in the back.
Okay, so I'm a millennial and I have a lot of friends that are millennials, so like 30 and under that are having kids. And there's like a trend on TikTok, it's like called gentle parenting. So it's just different ways of parenting from like my parents. Or my mom's 60, 55. I don't even know how old she is. But yeah, like the way that my mom and like our parents are, it's totally different. Like my mom did not teach me about mental health. Like that wasn't taught to me, right? But I feel like now, as for example, if I choose to have kids, like I would want to introduce this because now we have the technology, we have the words, and I'm a big advocate too that like we can't coddle children. Like I understand there's some studies that we do, like this past PG-13, I'll show that. There's a time and a place, but for some of these like life lessons, like don't coddle me.
So these lessons we used to learn on our own when we were living in different world 20 years ago or something like that. But now with the advance in technology, Instagram, Facebook, the parents are busy on their own and they come from work, they are open, both the parents are working, they're exhausted. Now they have a child. And so, and they are, people are moving around. They're not living together these days. You have a new family, move into a new neighborhood, you need to find a new church, you need to find a new whereabouts. And similarly with child, they have to make new friends. So it's a totally different environment. So I'm not focusing. I cannot control that. I have to understand what can I control and what can I not control. I'm not like the gentleman before we talked about the politics and all that. I cannot do nothing about that. You know, I'm not even a citizen of America. I'm on green card. But the thing is, what I can do as an individual, as a psychiatrist with my knowledge, I can create ways where kids can learn these skills. That is what I'm doing. That is it. Uh, uh, Everything else, joint family, this family, or whatever going on, I cannot control that. Did I answer your question?
No, yeah, I like this. I think this is.
All right, do we have one more question?
So you said it starts since birth. So what do you initiate like the program after they get born throughout their lives until like a certain age, or does it stop?
I didn't say that it starts at, I don't know what I can rephrase it. Basically, it could be biological. So when a child is born, if the mom and dad have depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar, there are chances that child has it already.
So it's like
But
biological.
it could be biological.
The difference is like, is it nature or nurture?
Okay, let me come to that. So biopsychosocial. That's the formulation when we make a formulation for a patient. Biopsychosocial. What are the biological factors this child person has that could make him depressed, anxious, which is coming from his ancestors, genetics, karma.
DNA.
Karma. DNA is what? Karma. Your DNA is made by the karma of your ancestors, and you are making your DNA too. See, if you give birth to a child now, and then you go into a traumatic phase for 20 years, and you give birth to a child after that, they could have different genetics, traumatic genetics. So, uh, biological is when you are born with it. Psychological, when you may be totally fine born, with no problems with genetics, but then you go through trauma. That's psychological. That I can also precipitate. And social. So biopsychosocial. So there are three ways, not just that.
Thanks so much.
So the ideal thing would be to start educating the parents when the child's born, bring the child in when he's 7. You get perfect people.
Pressing at one point and I stopped working because half of my clients living in Fresno, around the countryside, half of my patients were doing okay, but the other half, very young mothers having many babies with different fathers. Some of the parents were in jail for drugs or other things. And the grandparents were the one bringing the kids to the office. So it's a social problem. And this is fantastic because mental health is something that we need since they are little. And parents matter so young with many kids and no protection and no direction. And so it's overwhelming. So I think what you're doing, or your organization is doing, is fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. Feel free to donate to us.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Debay, for sharing with us. So I'm going to ask you some few more questions, and then we're going to go to our open mic. I'm going to come right here. How are you? Tell us today, like, what is a holiday since you've been here?
I've been here about an hour. Just like
So she said she likes listening to other authors and seeing the different perspectives on things. Absolutely, I think that's wonderful. All right, I'm gonna go next door. Hi. So could you tell us what you've enjoyed about it?
Yeah, I think the same. I enjoy hearing other people's perspectives, especially from other generations. And I think everyone here is a bit older, and so seeing how they're kind of going through their lives and the things that inspired them to write their books has been really cool.
Absolutely. Do you think that you'll ever write a book?
I think I'm more like screenwriting than novels, so I don't know, maybe I'm never gonna say never.
That's right. You can never say never because I would have never dreamed that I would be an author today, right? If you would have said no, no, no. But sometimes God just puts things in you and you don't know what you're gonna do, right? All you gotta do is say, all right, so I'm coming to the back. Hey, could you tell us what you enjoyed about today, please, ma'am?
Well, first of all, the openness of the authors sharing, even their personal lives and different things was really good, and how some of them were inspired by things that happen in their personal lives or just their imaginations. So it's been a really great experience for me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Wonderful. So she's had a great experience. Come over here to Dr. This and children. Now, as his wife, how does that make you feel knowing that he's doing all of this for the children out?
It feels wonderful that he is doing all of this for the children, though we still need donations. We're doing good. So you're welcome to donate if anyone would like to. But yeah, it's a lot of hard work, money we are putting just for the sake of children. And it's a lot of hard work out of the family life too. But keeping it in mind is Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And such, transparency there. Because we're supporting our spouses or significant others or whatever in things. Sometimes it can take a strain on our families sometimes. And so I always like to hear from the so I'm grateful that you allow your husband to. And of course, donations, you guys. So if you want to donate to the cause, please donate to the cause. Let's do a second bother right quick. Look, everybody got their little head down and stuff. I'm gonna bother you because you can come up next. So what have you learned or been inspired about today?
I have learned so many things that I did not know about. And it's very okay, exciting to learn those things.
Exciting. You said exciting to learn those things.
Mental health and limerick.
Yes, the mental health and memory. I'm telling you, that was so funny, you guys. So, hey, we're going to get ready to go to the next stage here. Now, we did have Virginia Degner, who was supposed to be coming today, but she isn't feeling well. Now, her book is called Without Consent. So I want you guys to visit the website, Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, any of the outlets for her book, Virginia Degner, Without Consent. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a little open mic right quick, okay? And so we're going to come up and share. We're giving each of them about 10 minutes to share, okay? So just hang tight. And I want y'all to shout it out for these people that's coming up, okay? So first up, we're going to have Adelpha the Gooseman, who's coming up. And her book is called Exhale, The Mysterious Tapestry. So she says, my book is a young adult fantasy book about a 14-year-old named Exhale, who is destined to save another world. He is transported to this world through a mysterious tapestry that magically transforms and serves as a portal. In this world, he endures trials to prove he is the chosen one. Now about the author. Immigrant from the Philippines, after decades of being an accountant, writing a book was my lifelong dream. Upon retirement, I embarked on trying to fulfill this dream with the goal of continuing my father's legacy of being a writer and to offer a Filipino contribution to American and hopefully world culture. So let's welcome my friend I met earlier, Adelpha the Gooseman.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Trish, you said everything already for me.
Sorry. No, that's okay. You got to rewind. Forget I said anything, okay?
And thank you. Thank
You're
you
so
very
welcome.
much. Anyway, this is my book, and like Christina, this is my first book as well. And I'm so anxious and scared as to the outcome of my first book. Anyway, how I came about this book is when my granddaughter was born.
and I was taking care of her. I looked at this little baby and I go, I wanted to give her a gift personally from me. So I said, I think I want to write a book for her. But my dilemma was, what book am I going to write? I have no clue at all. Anyway, my background, though, I enjoy adventure stories, fiction, science fiction, fantasy, and I'm so intrigued with horoscope. So all these experiences, interests, and thoughts combined all together to create this book. So anyway, this is focused for young adults, and Axel is supposed to be undergoing a lot of tests and endurance in order to prove himself and be able to save the other world. That's everything. So, I'm scared. One other thing. When I was writing this book, my daughter showed me a video clip from the YouTube editor, and she said, your first book will surely suck. And I go, oh my God, but you gotta continue to write. And then she said, maybe your second, third book will also suck, but still keep on writing. So I guess that's my lesson. Anyway, thank you.
Where can we grab a copy?
Huh?
Where can we
Amazon. In Amazon and Barnes and Noble and other online outlets. So please get this, especially if you have young adults, adult kids. They will learn a lot about perseverance and endurance and getting over fears. So, yes. And I'm sure, I hope they will read and enjoy my story. But adults can read it too. Okay? I'm not limiting it to teenagers. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, you are so welcome. Does anybody have any questions for her real quickly? Anybody have a question for her? She was so nervous about coming up here, but I want you to know you did a fabulous job still, all right? You are so welcome, so welcome.
Hair, thanks you.
Oh, the purple hair thanks me. Okay, yay, purple hair, okay. Amazing, amazing. I love it whenever, people can have a lifelong dream, which is what she said in here, that it was her lifelong dream to be able to write a book. And so here she is today in Beverly Hills with her book already written. And so we have seen it, the purple hair and all, right? So let's clap again for Adelpha real quick. All right, all right. Sorry, up next we're going to have Eric Kingdom to come. Now, of course, we said it was open mic, right? So he done walked in the door, and he is going to share with us about his book. So I don't have any information for it. So he going to come on up here and let us know about his book. Hi, Eric. Welcome. Welcome.
All right, well, there you go. Thank you very much. My story about my book started about 15 years ago when we decided to get a family dog. And we got a fox terrier, her name was Carly. And of course, everyone here knows the love of a dog. But if you don't, it's extremely special. It doesn't get any more special than that, actually. And so I used to stay up late at night, and sometimes I fall asleep on the couch. And for this particular night, I woke up in the middle of the night, and there were some kind of those infomercials, it was dogs in cages, it was one of those Aspen commercials, infomercials, I guess. And it just did weigh on me heavily, and I went ahead and went to sleep. And the next morning I was wandering, and I was thinking to myself, wouldn't it be a good story if one of those dogs could just escape? That'd be so cool. And so I just kind of jotted it down in my little ideas journal. I'm an ideas person, so I just kind of wrote it down, and then I just left it there. And then a few years later, I was deciding, I should probably finish that. It's kind of a cool thing. So I decided, look, dog can't just escape. Dog's got to find a home. It can't escape. So I came up with the idea. I finally was able to finish it. Once again, I wrote it all down, threw it on the shelf, and just left it there. Well, about 2.5 years ago, she passed away. And I said, you know, I'm going to finish this book in her name. And so here it is. It's Kennel Escape. And I did, as you can tell, I did the artwork myself. I did all the illustrations. And there's a lot in there. Anyway, it's a neat little story. I don't want to give away the whole how it ends. There's some drama in there. It's short. It's a children's book. It's only 25 pages. Not too much writing. A lot of illustrations. The illustrations took a long time. Actually, it took me about a year to do all that. I actually usually do it with the colored pencils. And when I transferred over, it didn't look good, so I went ahead and did it on the computer. And but you can see, I decided to take a step further to not just the dog escaping the kennel, but the unwanted, the people that are excluded from things, the outcasts. And so, is an outcast saving another outcast, basically. So the dog is disfigured, because no one wants the dog, but this kid wants the dog. So, and anyway, that's the story, and it's available on right now. Type in Kennel Escape book, and it'll pop up there. And then trying to get it on Barnes and Noble, and plan on going this weekend to the Los Angeles Times Fair, and hopefully we'll see you all there. Thanks so much. Does anyone have any questions for me? No? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Eric, for sharing with us. You know, when people just walk in, we start talking, right? And so I'm so glad that you came up and shared with us about your wonderful book today. And so we definitely look forward to seeing you on this weekend as well. So up next we have, for open mic, Urena Malara. And so I'm going to give you a little synopsis about her. So her book synopsis is The Power of Ethnic Media, a how-to guide for communications professionals. Now, dive into the intricacies of ethnic media with this comprehensive guide tailored for individuals seeking insights into its motivations and operations, whether driven by curiosity or necessity. This resource equips you to harness the formidable influence and engagement of ethnic media to amplify a diverse range of public relations and marketing campaigns. Now, about the author, Urena Malara, PhD, is an experienced media communications strategist with over 2 decades of experience in journalism and media relations, and a published author. As an award-winning journalist, Malara has left an indelible mark on the media landscape. Her tenure includes roles as both talent and producer on various television shows in Los Angeles, showcasing her versatility and expertise. Moreover, her impactful contributions as a public health reporter for LA Opinion from 2005 to 2015 underscore her commitment to informing and empowering diverse communities. So help me welcome to the stage now, Urena Malara.
Thank you so much. And it's a pleasure to be here with all of you today. I gotta say, I came about like an hour and a half ago. I listened to some of you, and I really love the stories, especially the personal stories. And this book is my first one in English. It's a manual for communication professionals. So it's very specific and tailored to my work. About the book, a lot of people that I encounter just see in-language media as a add-on, especially when they're doing public education campaigns. And what the book is about is putting in perspective that there are a lot of different diverse communities in California and in the United States, and we cannot forget about them, especially during pandemics like COVID, during emergencies. So we need to have a plan on how to communicate to diverse audiences. And
in language and taking into consideration where they come from. So that's it. Thank you for allowing me a few minutes. Again, this book is supposed to be a guide, and it's a guide, but it's very personal to me. Because it talks about my work. I Googled it out there, and there weren't that many books about what I do in the communication space, talking about ethnicity, culture, and different languages spoken here in the United States. So thank you so much. I don't know if there are any questions, but I try to be brief. Just the highlights. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for sharing about your book. We're so excited about that. And so we've got another open mic person that's coming up. She's looking at me. All right, so that person's going to be Deb Runge. So I'm going to give you a little synopsis about her. So her book is Recover Your Mission, How a Drunk from Wisconsin Became a Missionary in Haiti. How about that? All right, for those battling life-altering issues like alcohol, drugs, ACOA, PTSD, we know a lot of folks with that. Deb's story aims to inspire confidence in your journey to redemption. Recover your mission with her guidance. All right, about the author. Embark on the extraordinary journey of Deb Runge, a triumphant believer in Jesus Christ who overcame alcoholism, boasting an inspiring 28 years of sobriety. Hailing from the heart of, I don't know this word, Sheboygan, Wisconsin, did I get it? Okay, I knew I was gonna butcher it up. Okay, Deb wears many hats, a single mom to 3 accomplished sons. No wonder we clicked. I got 3 sons too, and 2 adorable grandchildren. Don't have them yet. A dynamic pastor and a dedicated missionary with a passion for introducing recovery ministry to the vibrant country of Haiti. Yes, oh wow. Beyond her transformative work, Deb is a captivating public speaker. Having shared her powerful testimony countless times, her story is a beacon of hope, and she eagerly welcomes opportunities to share her wisdom at various venues like this one here. Join Deb on a riveting exploration of faith, resilience, and the boundless possibilities of redemption. Let's welcome Deb to the stage.
So much. Woo, that was quite the intro. And yes, so my name is Deb, and I am a grateful believer in Jesus Christ. Amen. And I don't like to say I'm a Christian, okay? Because I'm not. I'm a believer in Jesus.
Yes.
Amen. And the kingdom of God.
Amen.
Amen. So don't let that, when I say that, don't let that distract you.
That's right.
Okay? And so I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful because I am here standing in front of you. That drunk from Wisconsin who became a missionary in Haiti. And I do have 28 years of sobriety, man. That is a miracle.
Yes,
Okay?
it is.
I am here to tell you, it is a miracle.
Absolutely.
And why I wrote my book is because I share my testimony a lot. I share it mostly in the arena of Celebrate Recovery, which is a ministry. It's 12-step based, okay, so like AA and secular things, but it's from the Christian perspective, okay? And basically what that means is Jesus Christ is the higher power. Okay? Amen?
Yes, ma'am.
But God has radically transformed my life, okay? I cannot claim anything other than that. And if I didn't have all of this recovery and healing, I would be dead. I'm just being real honest because my life was this microphone goes out of control.
Yes, it
My
has.
life was out of control and unmanageable. And I want you to hear me on this because I used to drink used to drink every single day.
Wow.
And not just a little. I was blacking out frequently for a period of, probably, it got the worst for about a 4 to 5 year period where I drank every day. Okay? And blacking out, like I said, frequently. And I finally reached my bottom. But I thought I was so alone. Okay? I was believing a lot of lies. That it was only, like, I was the only person that was experiencing this. I was the only person that acted the way I did. Okay? And it was when I reached that bottom that I reached out for help. And I realized that I wasn't alone. Okay, that's really the big key is that I was not alone. But my book is really, like, if I shared with you what God has all done, we'd be here for a couple hours. I'm just telling you. In fact, I've got another book in me. Okay, it's going to be called Recover Your Mission: The Rest of the Story. Okay, because there's even more than this. And I also am working on a workbook that goes along with this. Okay, because this book is not just for recovering alcoholics or addicts. Because what I realized is there was so much woundedness. I loved your question earlier to the psychologist, or the guy that was talking about the little kids, because that was my issue. My issue was in my childhood. My issue was growing up in an alcoholic home and the woundedness that I got from that, and then ultimately became, okay, because of what was the reprogramming that needed to be done in my mind, And so that's why I wrote my book, because I want other people to experience through my stories and my life and my journey what God can do for you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because if He did it for me,
Yes.
He can do it for you.
That's right. Yes.
Amen?
Amen.
And I'm not saying everybody here has to become a missionary in Haiti. That's just where God ended up for me. That's where He brought me to. But it's a radical story of how God got me there. And also, I just want to mention the country of Haiti right now. If you don't know, there's a lot of stuff going on in Haiti. Haiti is probably the biggest, what's the word I'm looking for? It has the most, it's the most difficult place in the world right now, along with Israel. I would put those two side by side. But it is going through a very difficult time right now. But here's the thing, because of the ministry that we've been able to bring there, through the work that I've done there, I can be here and they know what they're doing there. They know what they're, they understand how to do it. They don't need me there. And that's a sign of a true leader, right? When you can give your responsibility away and allow other people to take over, and you've taught them well because they can continue to do what you've taught them. And what we're doing in Haiti right now is bringing hope to the people. Particularly, I live in Port-au-Prince, and that is 80 to 90% overrun by gangs right now.
Wow.
Okay, so there's massive chaos, massive kidnapping, political unrest, gang violence.
Wow.
All the time. But despite all of that, God is still working because people still come to our ministry.
Wow.
It's amazing. And so a lot of what God has shown me, I like to show other people. That's what it's all about for me. I can't keep it unless I give it away.
Yes.
And so I wrote my book because it is the journey that I have been on. And like I said, I have 28 years of sobriety, but it has not been easy. Life for me has not been easy, but praise God, He's brought me through it. Right? He's not going to bring you to it if He's not going to bring you through it. Amen? And so that's what my story is about. And what I wanted to also mention just is that I was saying earlier that it's not just about alcoholism or about addiction. Because how I would normally introduce myself is, my name is Deb. I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ who has experienced victory over alcoholism, but I still struggle. was codependency. I'm an adult child of an alcoholic. Anger, grief, loss, PTSD, and the list goes on.
Okay.
I'm in process, right? And I also have a great, great desire to heal me because it's breaking generational curses off of my children. Okay? You're about the age of my children, right? And I don't want them to have to go through what I went through. And it was, you know, and I don't blame my parents because my parents only did what they knew.
Yes.
And so I want to know better so I can do better, even though I followed in their path for a season. But, you know, we all have to go through our stuff.
Yes.
Life is a journey. And we all have to learn through the journey. And some of us have to go further down in the pit before we come back up again.
Yes.
Amen? And so my book, anybody that reads my book will say, wow, like it really spoke to me. And whenever I share my testimony, people have always have people that come up to me and say, you're telling my story.
Right.
You're telling my story. And I'm like, praise God, thank you, Jesus, because I went through it.
Yes.
And I didn't have to go through it alone, right?
Right.
And so I'm grateful that I have been on the journey that I've been on because it's took me where it's taken me, right?
Absolutely.
And, you know, today, my life, I am free.
Yes. All right.
So it's pretty amazing what God can do
Yes.
with a drunk from Wisconsin.
Absolutely. I love it.
So I don't know if you guys have any questions. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to pass around my card if you want to take my card. I do have a nonprofit also because I do raise funds. All the funds that come from selling my book go directly back into the ministry. But I am missionary, so of course I have to fundraise to do what we do in the country of Haiti. And right now we are actually doing, what I was trying to say before is Haiti is the largest humanitarian crisis in the world right now. Okay, and so I'm fundraising for that because yes, we do bring this ministry into Haiti, but if you can imagine, I want you to imagine being a Haitian that lives in Port-au-Prince right now. Because the moment first of all, they may have been kicked out of their homes because of a game. Okay, meaning like you don't have time to pack up your stuff and put it into storage. No, you leave and you grab the things you can carry when you leave. Okay, and
Even if you own your home?
even if you own your home, because this is what gangs will do. They will come and they will say, you have 2 days to get out. We're taking over. We don't care. And if you don't leave, you'll be dead. Wow. So this is the reality of even the home that we do our ministry in. It could happen to us. We're just so happen God has protected us and kept us in a place that we haven't been affected that way. Amen. And I'm praying for those heavenly angels to be guarding us.
That's right.
As we continue to do ministry. But this is very heavy for me. You know, these are my people. These are where I've committed my life to. And, you know, they are so resilient. It's really amazing. They've been through a lot of trauma. And so what I was saying is imagine, so like even my staff who are in a safe home, but the minute they step outside the door, they're in a threat. They're in danger. They could be kidnapped. They could be shot. They could be robbed. They could be, I mean, the list is endless. But yet they still do ministry. Yet they still go out and do what they feel they're called to do, right? And they're a blessing to other people because they're helping them recover. You know, they're helping them have hope. They're helping them be able to work through, you know, we've heard a lot about forgiveness in a lot of, you know, the talk. And forgiveness is crucial.
Yes.
Moving forward in your life. Because I think you said it, if you don't forgive that other person that you're holding on to, or you have this unforgiveness toward, that person is going about their business and giving a rat's butt about you. I'm just saying it like that, but it's so true.
It is very true.
And so you're the one carrying the burden. And you can be free. But if you're not free, you're holding resentment, you're holding grudges, your
mental health is being
affected.
Right. You could be drinking.
You could be drinking. I'm here to tell you, I was the queen of self-help before. And my self-help didn't get me very far, quite honestly. In fact, my self-help gave me more issues, right? And, so I don't know how much more time I have. 1 minute. I have to wrap it up. Anybody have any questions for me? Otherwise, I can keep talking.
Thank you.
Yes.
I just wanted to say, despite the fact that you were at a very dark point in your life, you look very great. I would have never imagined that you were at that point. So I just wanted to say congrats.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much. It's only because of God's grace and radical change in my life. I had to pursue it, though. Honestly, it's not just something I woke up one day and said, I'm better now. I had to pursue it. And as much as I went to the dark side, you could say, I wanted to go to the light. Amen? Amen. And so, praise God for his redemption. That's all I can say.
Amen.
Beautiful, Deb. I'm really so excited about you. I'm telling you, anytime you can write a book and kind of talk from a place of transparency about the things in which you have gone through. And she said, who am I going to help? There are people out there, just like she said, that was telling her, you're telling my story. You're telling my story. But guess what? They didn't have the courage like Deb did to tell the story, but they're able to read the story and know it's their story. How about that? All right, so we have kind of come to the end of our book confab today, you guys. And so listen, I want to invite each of you back on tomorrow, okay? We're starting at 10 a.m. And of course, yours truly, who's yours truly? That's me, of course. I'll be up at 2:30 tomorrow. So I want you to be here in those seats. Let's fill the room for all of the authors tomorrow so that we can hear more about the exciting stories and where they came from. And so without further ado now, we want to bring up the VP of Reader's Magnet, none other than John.
I feel like the price is right.
Yes, the price is right.
Bob Barker has told me, but I will. Jamie, hello. Today I think it's a very special day. This confab is hosted by none other than your own, right? I would like to say that I'd like to say thank you, Tish. From Frankfurt,
yes,
to the virtual festival that we had, and now to this, right? But it ain't ending yet.
That's right.
Because tomorrow you will also rock the house, right? And thank you for everyone for being very flexible. Minor changes here and there. Everyone being very, nimble and flexible. So thank you. A lot of changes to see for tomorrow. We've learned a lot of lessons learned from today. So tomorrow is going to be a greater day, and what better way than to rebound, right?
Yes.
Rebound. Very similar to the stories that we've already heard today. What better way to rebound than to show and continue the vision of Reader's Magnet and really sharing the stories of all the authors, budding or tenured author, that we really have to have a platform and you have to be heard.
That's right.
Thank you very much, and good night, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Till tomorrow.
So are you guys doing that?
Yes.
Are you guys understand? Don't forget to come back tomorrow, okay? At what time? 10 a.m.
Everyone, your others, we have a group photo.